to the regular Board of Aldermen meeting, Salado Municipal Building, 301 North State Road, Salado, Texas. It's November 4th, 2025, at 6:30 p.m. Mr. Della Rosa, please call the roll.
All members are present. You have a quorum.
Here. All right, let's take a moment and pray your faith. All right, let's stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and the salute to the Texas flag, please.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, one liberty and justice for all. Under the Texas flag, I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state, under God, one indivisible.
Item 1, public comments. The Board of Aldermen welcomes comments from citizens on issues and items of concern not on the agenda. These wishing to speak must sign in before the meeting begins and observe a 5-minute time limit. When addressing the board, speakers will have one opportunity to speak during this time period. Speakers desiring to speak on an agenda item will be allowed to speak when the agenda item is called. Inquiries about matters not listed on the agenda will either be directed to the staff or placed on a future agenda for Alderman consideration. I got 2 so far. Mr. Tice?
Michael Tice, 6309 Bow Allen Court, Salado, Texas. Thank you for Mayor Pro Temp and Alderman for letting me have a chance to speak. And to everybody in the public, I just want to introduce myself at first. So my name is Michael Tice. I am running for Justice of the Peace Precinct 2. You've probably seen some of my signs around here, but that's not what I'm here for today. So a little bit of background. I was a state trooper for the last 10 years, and I've been coaching all the local youth sports and basketball, football, baseball, you name it. Last year when I was coaching the basketball league, the youth basketball for my son, who's my oldest, he's 7 now, I realized that there was a lack in skills for basketball. We have all kinds of programs around here, but we don't have a gym or anything for our kids to really go play at. So I started doing a free practice because I was a college basketball player at one time for myself, and I started doing a free practice on Sundays for everybody in the league. So with that, the parents loved it. I mean, kids were coming and watching these kids grow while still playing with the city league was amazing. And when it was coming to an end, the parents were like, hey, we want this to keep going. I said, okay, well, let me figure out how to make this happen. Well, I was able to start a program called GP10. So it's a nonprofit here in Salado. And I wanted to take some time to kind of let you guys in the community know about it so that we can utilize this, hopefully, to help grow Salado basketball. What it is on Sundays, we teach nothing but fundamentals from kindergarten through 12th grade. I've met with the school and the coaches and started working with them to try to get the kids at least aware of it, but also bring them in. And so far, I'm proud to say that all the kids that have been in our program and have done tryouts have actually made the team. Some of them have never played basketball before. I didn't want mom and pop coaching basketball. I wanted to make sure we had a good foundation for these kids. So I've got a former NBA player. His name's Chris Clack. He was a Longhorn. So that being said, he does come in and help me coach and had a great participation. We're up to 37 kids so far, and it's growing. So I wanted to let the city know. Also, if you know any grandparents that have grandkids or any people who have kids that don't know about this program, please reach out. It's called GP10. You can go to gp10.org. Right now it's been funded by myself. And with that, I'm pouring into this community for these kids. And thankfully, as parents have started registering their kids, my goal is to make this as free or cheap as possible for anybody to be able to play basketball and learn. So there's no competitive play with it. And what I'm looking for is hopefully, as a city, we can come together to find a way to make this a possibility. Right now, our only expenses are going to be for gyms. And I do pay Coach Black to come in every now and then. And I mean, former NBA player, y'all can he's significant discount for us. So that being said, I welcome any questions or anything like that. But if you see me walking around, feel free to talk about the campaign or mostly basketball. I love basketball. So thank you guys. 5 to 7. PAE 2. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Mr. Stewart?
David Seward, 1216 Mill Creek Drive. Speaking on behalf of Salado Music Friendly Community Advisory Board and We Are Music Salado, specifically thanking and updating you all on our first music crawl and chili cook-off a couple of weeks ago. Weather held out. We were fortunate enough to get everything wrapped up before the weather came in. We did draw many out-of-town competitors and visitors. I believe we even had 1 or 2 international visitors. Unfortunately, hotels were already full, so those that did book hotels ended up having to stay in Belton and other cities. It was an incredible success. I want to publicly thank the support from you all. I'd like to personally recognize Alderman Dunch. He stepped up and had a team. He competed. Mayor Pro Tem and Gina were also kind enough to be judges, along with Bailey Bates from Channel 6 News and some other local residents. We haven't tallied our total take-in yet, but we do feel like we raised a good amount of money. And we have been asked if we would bring it back and do it again. The Cassie folks who certified our cook-off have said that they could come back and bring at least 30 different teams of cookers out. So, again, we didn't compete with local businesses. When someone would come up and ask us for food or places to get something to drink, we sent them to brick and mortar businesses. When people needed supplies for the cook-off, we sent them to local businesses. And with the exception of one business, the one that did the banners, everything was sourced with local Salado businesses and business owners. So that was our commitment to keep it true. And again, it was all just to try to bring folks to town and try to make cash registers ring like we always do. But I appreciate the support from everyone, and hopefully we'll be able to make it happen again sometime soon.
Thank you. No, it was a great event. Anybody else for public comment? Going once, going twice. Sold. Number 2, presentation, a resolution to recognize Mayor Bert Henry's service to the Village of Salado. Oops. That didn't work too well. Stick it in my pocket. Probably won't need it, but Mr. Henry, come on up. All right, so I think everybody knows past Alderman, then Mayor Bert Henry. Oh, we still got to. We're going to read and all that. I mean, if you want to do it now. All right. But no, we wanted to recognize him. I mean, all the hard work he's done for the village. I thought he did an awesome job. I mean, he's cleaning out the creeks on the little water crossing. He's filling potholes. He's helping everybody out in the community. So what I wanted to do was recognize him and have a proclamation for him. And I forgot my glasses.
Yeah, I think the good ones over here.
Are they readers?
Yes.
Whoa, these aren't that bad. All right, here we go. Resolution number 25, TAC 12, resolution of the Board of Aldermen of the Village of Salado, Texas, recognizing the public service rendered by Bert Henry as Alderman and Mayor of the Village of Salado. Whereas Bert Henry, having been elected by the citizens of Salado, assumed the office of Alderman of the Village of Salado and served from May 23 to May 24 as Alderman and May 24 to October 25 as Mayor. And whereas his career as Alderman and as Mayor and his wholehearted participation in many related functions have earned him the respect of the Village of Salado. And whereas he has served faithfully as Alderman and as Mayor and has played a vital role in the important work of the Board of Aldermen. And whereas his years of service have been marked by exemplary dedication to the best interest of the community and his performance of the duties and responsibilities as a member of the Board of Aldermen and as mayor has been characterized by excellent constructive contributions to municipal government in our village. Now therefore, be it resolved by the Board of Aldermen of the Village of Salado, Texas, acting on and behalf of the citizens of Salado, that we hereby express our sincere appreciation and thanks to Bert Henry for his distinguished service to the community, highly recommend him for the manner in which he was carried out his duties and responsibilities. Be it further resolved that the Board of Aldermen extend him best wishes as he leaves the board. Adopted unanimously 6th day of November 2025, Village of Salado, signed myself, Mayor Pro Tem. Thank you. Oh, okay. What was it? Oh, wait a minute. I forgot one more thing. There's a flag that was flown over the village also. Yeah. You want another picture of everybody? Good job. Thank you. Oh, anytime. You want to say anything?
Yeah, thank you. One, thank God, I appreciate it. I started this journey as an alderman, never, like a few years prior to that, they called me, said I was going to be alderman, and I made after that, it was crazy. Never had any aspect to do any of that. It's just evident that, one individual who refused to be quiet, just highly by, can make a difference in the community. That. And I helped through my work. And when I ran for office, it was on the platform of transparency, and advocacy for justice, and over business, and I think I did all those things. And to the board, I was asked to continue on that transparency and honesty with citizens. And take advantage and mutual respect on one another, open collaboration, open communication, that's key. I don't have all the answers, but as far as that goes, that will be working together collectively. And you guys are all very experienced on this. I tell them, this guy is a wealth of knowledge, and I feel say that's the thing about so good luck. I'm not going anywhere. I'll be around. I'll see you after the meeting. I'll
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor.
All right, moving on to number 3, consent agenda. A, approval of the minutes of October 16th, 2025, Board of Aldermen regular meeting. B, acknowledge receipt of petition for release from the Village of Salado, extraterritorial jurisdiction from Mark DePoy and Lena Renee DePoy. Legal description, being 3 acres of the GF Land Lakeford Survey, abstract 508, Bell County, Texas, and being out of the northeast corner of a tract conveyed to J.C. Paul by deed, recorded in volume 622, page 350, deed record of Bell County, Texas. Mr. Della Rosa.
No comment. And, well, no, let me address the comment. The petition for release of the ETJ met all the statutory requirements. That's why it's not up for discussion. If it meets it, we put it on a consent agenda acknowledging receipt, and it'll statutorily take place in accordance with those with that state law.
Thank you. No question. No question. Alderman Laster.
Yes. Is the petitioner, are they here tonight?
I don't believe so.
Okay. I was just curious. I always like to know if they were willing to speak and say why. I just like to know that, but if they're not here, it's a moot point. So that was all.
Okay.
Thank you.
Alderman Dunn?
No questions.
Alderman McDonald? No questions. Any public comment? No? We'll go ahead and make a motion.
I make a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Alderman McDonald made a motion to approve the consent agenda as written.
Second.
Second by Alderman Dunn. Any discussion?
Yes. Yes.
Go ahead.
Yes. On the minutes, on item 10K of the minutes, when we were talking it was late the other night, and I just want to make sure on that vote we had on the certificate, the C and N for the water issue with Georgetown. I wanted to just clarify at the back of it when Alderman McDonald made the motion to do it, approve it, and there was no second, the motion died. That was correct. I just want to make sure as we came back and talked about it again, motion made by Alderman Dunch to approve as presented. It wasn't exactly the same motion as I recall, but maybe it was.
It was the same motion.
My question was, I just want to make sure that the record presented itself correctly, and maybe it doesn't go in this document, but I want to make sure that when we talked about that, I had asked about any financial obligations associated with accepting that CNN, and I just want to make sure for the record that was my understanding.
Okay.
Is that correct?
Yes, sir, that is correct.
Okay, then no further questions. Thank you.
Alderman,
That
let me,
did accept
yeah.
the MRB engineering study for it.
Yeah, so let me clarify. The expenses would be whatever the application is, our studies, maybe consultants, but there is no compensation to the city of Georgetown for the CCN area since there are no assets that are on the ground by the city of Georgetown.
And thus no liabilities.
Say it again, I didn't hear it.
And thus no liabilities either.
No, so this is pretty straightforward. Yeah, liability, there isn't anything to be liable for at this point.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Any further discussion?
Question.
Question was called. Everybody to approve consent agenda as written, say yes.
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 Everyone to disapprove, say no. Is there any abstention? That's 5-0. Item 4, discuss and consider possible action regarding any item removed from the consent agenda, and there was not. Number 5, Alderman Laster to comment on his residency within the Village of Salado. Alderman Laster.
Yes, thank you. I'd like to stand before y'all and tell you just a few things very shortly. Don't want to make a big issue of it at this point, but I owe y'all some responses, in my opinion. Number one, just say, standing up here, there's always obstacles and challenges for every one of us, not only up here, but out there. And we either accept those and move forward, or we change directions. In that particular case, I accept the fact that obstacles and challenges happen, and that's just life, and that's business. And that's the way things are, so that's okay. Number two is, I just ask that people always consider that there are two sides to every story. And so maybe that's all I'll say on that. And number three, I certainly respect the legal system. I want to leave it with the legal system and let them decide what may or may not come of this at this point in time. I value that, and I will respect it greatly. Number four, I am a resident. I have been for a number of years here. I've owned property here since the late 1990s. I love this town. I was asked by some people I really admire to run for office this time, and I was honored to do that, and was honored to be voted in, and I appreciate that. And I just want y'all to know that I will continue to serve with my full efforts moving forward, so long as I'm supposed to be up here and allowed to be up here. And I think that all I can say is I want to assure you that my heart and my mind is, and my efforts up here are no different than they were before. I want to support our culture, our history, our past, and I want to support and help this community grow in a very responsible and controlled growth way. And in that end, that's all I have to say. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor Pro Tem.
All right, moving on to 6A.
Mayor Pro Tem,
Yes.
that would also be eligible for public comments.
Okay, I apologize. Would anybody like to make a public comment? Gone once, gone twice. Sold. 6A, discussion and possible action on the 2026 annual plan and budget submission by Stagecoach 1943 LP, aka Stagecoach Inn, in accordance with the Economic Development Program Agreement, Section 4.6.4. Mr. Dela Rosa.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem and Alderman, before you have the 2026 annual plan and budget that was presented by Stagecoach 1943 LP's Representative Bree Carrico. Mrs. Carrico's here in the audience. I think it'd be best if she answers any questions you may have about the plan. I certainly cited the section in the agenda where the plan is required, which is section 4.6.4 of the agreement. And behind the plan is a copy of that incentive agreement. So, with your permission, Mayor Pro Tem, if Mrs. Carrico can come up.
Yes. Good evening. Go ahead. I was you gonna ask questions, or are you gonna make a statement, or?
We would just like to thank you all for your continued support. We would like to thank you all for your continued support. It's been a building year for us at Stagecoach, and the restaurant took longer to get open than we all wanted. And as we continue to work towards profitability, we're proud to say that we currently employ 100 people, that rooms revenue has grown 30% year over year, and our margins are getting better, and we're working on getting the restaurant to being profitable. So your support in this regard is very much appreciated as we continue to try to stabilize this historic business.
Okay. Alderman Sandro?
I think you guys are doing a great job, and your marketing is incredible. I think that Salado should recognize that also.
Thank you very much.
You guys are doing a really good job. Thank you.
Thank you.
Alderman Lassner?
I can only echo what Alderman Sandor said. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Agreed with the other ones. It's great to see you guys part of the community and that the Stagecoach is turning the corner and doing well. But budget-wise, just the food and beverage for this year was supposed to be $4.3 million, and you're at 1.6. And is your fiscal year at the end of December?
It is.
Okay.
Yeah,
So,
the original projections were done by our partners, and you know, we're coming to a smaller community, so it was a little optimistic, I think. We also didn't open until March of this year, and we plan to open in the fall of 24. So I would say we'll probably land this year around $2 million. The real runway here, usually we say it takes 3 years to stabilize a hotel, particularly if it has a restaurant, because you have to build the reputation, and we sort of started behind the starting line on reputation, because events and weddings and reunions are the way we can really make the restaurant yield and be profitable. So we have a long way to go to get to 4.3. We're adjusting our expenses and our labor structure now to try to stay profitable within the lower revenue that we have compared to what was originally projected.
But then contractually, were you supposed to be hitting these numbers in order to get the rebates in the contract?
They're supposed to do the investments, and there are some performance metrics. There's times to address those metrics. If they don't get corrected or continually maybe not meeting those, then they could be subject to review by this board and maybe take negative action.
Okay. No other questions.
Alderman McDonald?
Yes. Hello, ma'am. Nice to see you.
Nice to see you too.
And I'm obviously going to echo what everybody else is stating here, but as far as we hope for the success of your organization.
Thank you very much.
But I'd like to piggyback off of that for your appendix. Do you actually have your appendix with you at all, or do you have a copy?
I do not. I'm sorry.
You do not? All right. So I'll just bring it to your attention, and you can just look at it later. For Appendix Alpha for 2026, I'll just read some net operating income. The first 2 months, in other words, you're projecting you're going to be in a deficit for
That's
those
correct.
2 months.
Yes.
Can you explain that to me a little bit simpler?
Sure. The market is very seasonal, and we have fixed expenses that are pretty high. Insurance, property taxes, and our debt service that came with the property when I started working on it. So whether we do, like from January, we might do last January, our rooms revenue was $25,000. In October, our rooms revenue was probably around $130,000. So we accrue our interest, insurance, and property tax, and our salaries, our general managers throughout the year. And those costs are fixed whether we do $25,000 in rooms revenue or $130,000.
Got it.
January and February are typically negative, both here and at our hotel in Round Rock as well, actually.
Okay. And just kind of coalescing just for the general populace to hear. So the agreement initially went into place on the 17th of July of 24. And I'm going off of short memory real fast on what you responded to a prior question about you wanted to get the restaurant going in the fall. It didn't happen until the spring, so on and so forth. All right. So in simple terminology, and this, I will expect Mr. De La Rosa to stop me if I'm asking something I shouldn't be asking, if it's a legal beyond me question.
Sure.
Right? Okay. What I'm getting to is this. The whole purpose of this agreement is there's a certain amount of hot tax that will come back to you as a reinvestment opportunity. Am I saying that generally correctly?
Yeah, the agreement spells out how we have to reinvest the EIPs in marketing, historic maintenance, and I think there's one other category.
Right. Agreeable. And so I'm just giving you my perception. Doesn't make it my reality. Okay. When you show me a budget for a year that you haven't even walked into yet, with deficits in the first 2 months, fundamentally speaking, that's a little concerning. And the reason I say that's concerning, and I appreciate the honesty of the conversation, but the reason it's a concern to me is because I don't want to set the standard of being in a contractual agreement with the municipality that's going to provide you basically tax money in the back end if you're having performance metrics. What I don't want to do is have the perception of us having these agreements and this money that we are speaking of fills in your deficit gap.
I
Do you understand the perception
I understand
of
that
that?
perception. What I can
Okay.
share with you, and I'm happy, I know you're a data guy.
Yeah.
When you look at the STR data, which is the public records for how all hotels perform within the market, we get all of their revenue data.
Right.
Well, both the Waco, Salado market has shrunk by 20% year over year, 3 months, 6 months, 9 months, 12 months going back.
Good.
We've grown 35%. So despite the fact that when you look at an accrual income statement, the net income is negative, we're performing better than the other hotels in this comp set and in this market. And that there are some properties we manage, we do 90% of our revenue in 5 months a year.
Right.
And it's a cash flow situation, not necessarily on a P12 running profitability.
You're not running the game of
situation.
averages is how you're telling me this.
Yeah, I mean, well, potentially. I think when you look at
Okay.
the market data, without being too technical, we perform better than the market in the months you're describing. So I can bring you the data in March, and I'm pretty confident that we will do 90 to 100+% as well or better than this market. based on revenue per available room night in the hotel room. It's just that the market as a whole shrinks by about 100 to 200% from the peak months to those slow months on an annual basis.
Okay. Thank you for answering my question.
Sure, of course. Happy to.
I like to go to. I know we've generally spoken about these deficits as well. Do you foresee any issues with these deficits based on the agreement and based on review from legal counsel at this point?
My concern is not at this time because Mrs. Carricker certainly articulated that they didn't open until March of this year.
Right.
There was about an 8-month delay on construction. It took longer than anticipated to get the restaurant up. They had to do significantly more work, like when it came to the fire sprinkler system. Needed to be completely not even rehabilitated. It needed a new system.
I remember.
Yeah, so there was a delay. But I am going to point out that 4.6.4, the approval of the annual plan and budget.
Mm-hmm.
The village shall have and maintain the right to approve, disapprove, and request modifications to the annual plan and budget, including specifically the right to participate in the decisions related to the expenditures of hot funds by Stagecoach. So if you take that section and then you take the very last sentence of that, the village's approval shall not be unreasonably withheld, conditioned, or delayed by them to you. Then you go to 4.7, which talks about the job compliance affidavit, the certificate of compliance, the scheduling, and the detailing of the hot fund expenditures. Their fiscal year ends at the end of December. It would be my recommendation, and again, when I was working on this, my predecessor had worked on it. I came in, finished this, make sure that we had some clawback provisions for various reasons, but we don't have a full cycle. My suggestion is that this annual plan and budget, my recommendation is that you not approve it. It is also not that you disapprove it. It is that you keep it on hold until after the December 30th deadline, which they have 30 days to provide those hot fund expenditures. And at that point, it gives you a good idea what those hot fund expenditures have been for this calendar year, even though maybe revenue started coming in March.
Right.
That'll give you a fairly good idea of whether you agree with the plan, right?
That was going to be my
Because
next question.
I think it would be not fair to you to approve a plan when you don't even know what the expenditures have been, right?
Exactly.
So
I'll just point out in the table, we did share the expenditures through September because the plan was due, this plan was due in October. So we shared year to date. So that's what we
and we
had
got
at that
that.
time.
Yeah. But to get a full picture,
Sure.
and then in the
Yeah.
next year, you'll get a full 12-month cycle, right? And this is when we start saying, is it meeting those metrics, right? But, these are pretty strong sections, and I wanted to point that out to you. So I think at this time, we appreciate it. It certainly has been compliant, providing information. If we ask anything, they're very responsive to that. But you don't have a full 12-month cycle.
Have a whole picture.
Yeah, and you need a little bit more time. Certainly it's meeting these October 1 deadlines and others, but those expenditures at the end of December, so if we get them, say, near the end of January, you won't get this back on your agenda for consideration until maybe February, first meeting or second, just depends on how much time it takes for us to review it, get it to you, so you have time to digest that information.
Thank you, Mr. Del Oro.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Bree, for this.
You're welcome.
I appreciate you.
Yes, I just want to echo what everybody said. I think it's coming along great. We love the restaurant, and that's all I have.
All right.
Any questions?
Thank you for Oh, yes, sir.
I'm done. Thank you.
Well, may I ask you a couple of questions?
Of course you may.
Okay, thank you. I was going back, and you have 48 active available rooms right now,
Yes,
correct?
sir.
Do y'all have plans in the 26th year to do another building or add additional rooms?
So there's a fourth building that has 30 rooms in it. The rooms are pacing, usually we say when we're averaging 75% occupancy consistently, then we're looking for more rooms. We are trending that way quickly, and so we would love to be able to raise the funds to add 30 more rooms.
But it's
In the
not
future.
currently in a capital plan for
It's not currently in the capital plan.
2026. Okay.
That's correct.
Okay. I was just going to add one thing to everybody's agreement up here, that, really glad to see things moving in a positive direction there. I think the management change, both in terms of the new management company and the new general manager of the partnership, which is David Hayes, has really turned this property into a positive direction. And I think in the years ahead, it will continue to rise. But for all intents and purposes, it's rising from the ashes.
I appreciate
And
that.
I
It's
understand
been a lot of work.
that. It's a lot of work to turn something around that has such a great history, but had so much deferred maintenance and
A lot of
was dated
historic
for so
surprises.
long. So, yeah. But I really appreciate y'all. I personally have a lot of confidence that y'all's team now is the best it's had since a long time ago, maybe in the 80s or 90s, but certainly in the last 10 or 15, 20 years. So
I'll be sure to share that with the team.
I
Make
hope
them
you
proud.
will, because I really mean that. I think you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you, guys.
Anybody else? Okay. All right. Any public comment? No? So do we want to table this? I would recommend a table. Till February? Or we just
Until we get the reports in,
Yeah.
the reports out of 4.7, and at that time, we can revisit the entire annual plan and budget and those reports, those
Alright.
expenditures and affidavits, yes.
You guys good with table until February? Till we
Yeah.
get all the, everything in?
I do.
Concur with that.
I concur.
All right.
I think that's fair. Yeah, I do.
All right, 6 Bravo, discussion of possible action to ratify the approval of quote from Central Barricades in the amount of $1,700 for portable traffic signals to be utilized during the Salado Christmas stroll. Mr. Della Rosa.
Okay, this is, if you'll bring up, yeah, that slide up there, you'll see that a temporary traffic control sign that we're proposing. If you were on Royal Street by that box culvert, you saw this very similar type of assembly out there to manage traffic. There's usually a solar panel since there's usually not electricity nearby. We're proposing that for the Christmas stroll coming up, that on Friday and Saturday evenings, that we have these traffic control lights on Main Street on both sides of the creek. So roughly from about Royal Street to Pace Park, the southern leg, or near the Baptist Church, would have one lane for vehicles that would alternate on that single lane, and the other lane would be utilized for pedestrian traffic. Okay? Now go to the next slide, please. So this is just an aerial view of Google Earth. So, and the creek's in the middle. The red top rooftop is the Baptist Church, and then down at the bottom you'll see Stagecoach Inn on the left side. Next slide. Again, there's the creek, and a little bit more indicates the roadway. Chief Fields, if you'll come up to the lectern, we've got to explain some of the logistical issues here and the conversation I've had with the chief. Go to the next slide, please. Okay, as you're looking at Main Street and you're facing northbound, you see the General Mills store, the Rosanke building. So, and then you see Royal Street, which is the roadway to the right. You don't see the road, but you see where it makes that intersection. Here's the concern. Next slide. See that pedestrian walkway? See the curb?
Yes, sir.
So unless you're on that sidewalk by the General Mills store, Harry's on the creek, and you walk down and then you need to get over, you're walking over a curb and it's a trip hazard, which means that we're going to have to shut the road, at least put the signage in front of the general store in that proximity to allow folks not to have to go over that curb, but to get back on that roadway. So the discussions the chief and I have had is how do we manage the traffic that is on Royal Street westbound as you come up onto Main Street, and he'll tell you the officers that he's got there. Then, but not only do we have these traffic lights, we're also working on trying to get these light towers. Is that, am I still?
Correct.
Okay, we're still working on that.
Still working on that.
And the reason being is that we would like to get light towers is so that it's not as dark, right? We've been trying to get the lighting on the roadway determined, and it is very cost prohibitive. It really never works right. But what we do have is along the handrail, we have 600 linear feet of rope lighting, Christmas lighting. Gina, is it white lighting? Is that what it is? Good. We had to debate whether we could. So white lighting that we're going to put on the pedestrian railing, but not on the top rail. In one of the lower rails, and we've got power on both sides, so we will actually be able to light up that pedestrian walkway with some additional lighting. But that's the concern. So if we do this, part of it is that we're going to have to not allow or have no parking in front of that area, so we can have this controlled environment for pedestrians. But it will generate more pedestrian traffic, getting them up and down in that area quicker. And also the chief will walk you on that, and chief explained the park place, Pace Park Road, the south, and also the traffic, pedestrian traffic that's going to create, which is good for the businesses on Pace Park Road, and chief will explain what we need to do in that area.
Is Alderman, Mayor, Pro Tem. I wasn't here 3 years ago when a child in a stroller was hit because there was too much pedestrian traffic going across the sidewalk, so they were walking in the roadway and a stroller got hit. I vowed that that's not going to happen while I'm here. So with that being said, the last couple of years, in response to this, myself and Sergeant Dunshee would monitor the traffic, and as we saw the pedestrian traffic increasing, we would do this plan, but we would do it using human resources. Resources are a little slim this year. So with that being said, Mr. De La Rosa suggested this. I think it's an excellent plan. It will require that we reclaim the two parking stalls that are adjacent to Harry's and the general store. Those are on the right of way. Those are our parking places. So we have the authority, you have the authority to allow us to reclaim those. That will allow pedestrian traffic to be in the area and not have to be forced into the narrow walkways. It'll also facilitate better movement in the area. The signal light will be between that particular area and Royal. I have 2 officers assigned to that area right now. It's going to be Sergeant Dunshee and Officer Castro, as well as one of our CHIPS members, Citizens Helping in Police Service. So we'll have 3 individuals at that intersection. The plan is that we're going to be using the majority of the time the officers are there are going to be used to get people across the crosswalk safely. However, when we have a red light, we can continuously hold traffic on Royal and not let them make a turn at all. So we don't have to worry about vehicles coming anywhere near our pedestrians at that particular moment. Once the light turns green, officers can allow the individuals to make that right-hand turn and go northbound in the southbound lane on Main Street. And historically, we stand between the pedestrians and the vehicles, so they will actually go around us, so the pedestrians will be behind us and the vehicles will be coming in front of us to offer a safer barrier. All of my officers are equipped with road guard vests. I call them road guard vests, traffic control vests, as well as flashlights. So we're going to be highly visible in those intersections. As the traffic goes a little further north, we will need to close down. I would recommend that we close down South Pace Park Road. Reason being, that is unregulated, and I don't need to have vehicles turning out of there making a left or a right-hand turn when they don't know what's going on at the 2 signal lights. So it would be my recommendation that we completely close down South Pace Park Road to vehicular traffic. That is also a very busy intersection. We have a lot of individuals that go see the nativity scene at First Baptist Church, as well as attend the Strawberry Patch and other vendors in that area. So that was one of our main concerns. My second concern was the north and the signal light that is at the north end of Main Street needs to be high enough up that hill that you can see it from Thomas Arnold. Reason being, I don't need anybody coming over the top of that hill and being surprised. So that means we're probably going to have to station an officer at Church Street. And the reason I say station an officer there, that's to keep vehicular traffic from coming out of Church Street onto Main Street, not vehicle traffic pulling in, because if you remember correctly, that's where the horse and buggy usually pull in to do their loading and unloading, and I don't want to have them alter their plans. But that would be a safe way to monitor that, is have an officer there. I'm also going to have 2 officers and 2 CHIPS members at Thomas Arnold and Main, or Thomas Arnold and Main North Pace Park Road. That is a very, very busy intersection. If you've been out to the Stroll, you know that there's a lot of vendors in that area, and people have a tendency to cross where convenient, not cross in the crosswalks. So we'll have enough individuals in that area to remind everybody to use crosswalks as well. So this is our plan just for that particular section. We do have more officers stationed a little further up on Blacksmith, and then myself, I will be incident command, and I will still have 2 officers on patrol that will not be affected by the Stroll in case we have an emergency elsewhere. So that officer has a backup officer as well. I know you're thinking, well, if you're so low on officers, how come you're going to station all these officers somewhere? I have spoken with Belton Police Department. Chief Larry Berg has agreed to allow 2 of his officers per night of the Stroll to come down here and assist us. Now, it is going to cost us, we do have a line item for security for Stroll. The going rate right now is $60 an hour, 2-hour minimum. From 5:30 p.m. till 9:30 p.m. should be plenty of time to cover the Stroll. That's 4 hours a day. And at that rate, that'll give us 8, during the Stroll, that'll give us 8 officers to cover those 4 days, and will come $80 below budget on the line item.
Alderman Sandor? Yeah, so Chief, are you, I probably missed this and all of that. I think it's a great report, and I just blanked out for a moment early on, sorry. The bridge, once you set all this up, is the bridge effectively for vehicular traffic going to be 1 lane or 2?
1 lane. All traffic will be in the southbound lane of traffic.
Okay.
And it will alternate between 2 minutes going northbound, then it'll wait until that traffic is completely clear, 2 minutes coming southbound, wait till that traffic is completely clear, 2 minutes going northbound. And we find that when we did that manually, myself and Sergeant Dunshee were out there directing traffic, telling, hey, last car is going to be a white and color Pontiac. 2 minutes was about as long, because you don't want the traffic to back up too much. You still want it to move as much as possible, but you want to make sure that that's controlled. So we'll have barricades down the center, the yellow stripe, that'll separate pedestrians from vehicular traffic, and I hope that answers.
It does. And then I have a question, Mr. De La Rosa, for you about the lighting on the handrail that you talked about. That's something new that's being proposed to be introduced. Is that correct?
Yes, so we're treating that as maintenance. So it's not being presented to you. It's a nominal cost for us, a few $100s.
Or not? Because my wife is working on a board called Salado Elves. They're a nonprofit, and they do all the all the light poles up and down Main Street with lit garland and all that stuff. She's very proactive in that. And I may or may not have heard her ask me to figure out if it would be okay if they did that. So it's a strange coincidence, but they have a plan right now to do that, and I'm pretty sure they have a donor also. So I don't want to hold the board up with that, but just I wouldn't spend any money from the general fund until we maybe visit with the Salado Elves on that one little bitty thing. Yeah, we can discuss that later. Okay, sorry. Wrong time? Yeah. Yeah, thank you, Chief. Thank you, Mr. De La Rosa.
Alderman Lasker.
Yes, Chief, very simple question, but it's, do you use cones or tape, any of the tape to help you on the bridge to keep them direct a little bit better?
Yes, sir. We have cones and we have barricades that we use. We don't necessarily use the tape because it takes one windy day and then next thing I know, I've got tape wrapped around a side view mirror driving down the road.
So
pulling all my
visually.
cones with it. But yes, we have barricades in between pedestrian traffic and vehicle traffic.
Thank you.
I think you answered most of it, but back to that, my question was going to be, but you answered the 2 minutes to 2 minutes, but there's peak hours where you might need to go 3 minutes, 3 minutes. Do we have the ability with this to override, or is it just set?
I can't speak intelligently on that, sir. I have no clue.
Okay, I didn't know, depending on, coming in and leaving, you could quickly have a backup on one particular side that we would need to, I'm just curious if it has an override to add a minute just because, you're still going to have police officers that could be there to help the traffic through.
And it can be monitored, and if it needs to be adjusted, we can do it manually. We can go back to the way we did it the last couple of years, just so that we can facilitate faster moving traffic. However, I'd like to be able to explore the possibility of maybe controlling it, but I can't speak intelligently on that right now.
Okay, thanks. No other questions?
I think it's a good plan. The generalized question is probably more towards Mr. De La Rosa. In light of the potential of us, in theory, closing down for pedestrian traffic, the quote-unquote little parking spots in front of the general store and Harry's, that kind of stuff, I would also presume that anywhere that we're setting up pedestrian walkthroughs such as this, and such in a manner that we're not going to put vendors there so it doesn't impede the flow of traffic.
Impede or create a line of sight issue?
That's kind of what I was getting to. So that's generalized. So safety on both sides of this is what I'm looking for. Thank you very much. I have no further questions. Thank you for this, Chief. Thank you.
Thank you, Chief.
Again, to remind you, this is a ratification. I've already,
It's already been approved.
signed the agreement, so.
Okay.
Is there any public comments on this? Yeah, it has. Thank you. All right, I'll entertain a motion. Just for 6 Bravo, it's a ratification. It's already been approved with 3 of the members.
Mayor Pro Temp, I recommend that we approve 6 Bravo for ratification as written.
All right, Alderman McDonald made a motion to approve 6 Bravo as written.
Second?
Second by Alderman Dunch. Is any discussion? Question. All those in favor of approving 6 Bravo, say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. Any abstentions? 5-0. 6C, discussion of possible action on appointing an individual to fill the unexpired term of the mayor. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, well, it's back. So how do you want to move forward with filling the vacancy of the mayor's seat? What you can do is you can select someone amongst yourselves. You can select somebody not here through some process if you want to, like take applications, interviews, or thirdly, you call for an election, but with so little time left, it would be not worth the money that you would be spending.
Yes.
Or lastly, you leave it unfilled. I guess that's an option, to which then the Mayor Pro Tem will continue to be the presiding officer of these meetings.
Alderman Sandor.
So I want to thank the board for tabling this in my absence a few weeks ago at your last meeting. I appreciate that courtesy. My only comment is that I hope that this board will consider allowing the voters to choose who their mayor is. I wholeheartedly believe that while we have the authority to appoint one, I think the best thing that could happen in this scenario would be that the voters choose who their mayor is going to be, and perhaps not this board.
Alderman Lasker. All right. Alderman Dunn.
I would have to concur as well. I think it needs to be an elected position, and I think we can navigate this until the next election cycle just fine. So.
Alderman McDonald.
We dealt with this last cycle as a board. At the time, my stance then was the people should choose, and only the people should choose. So that's my point of view. Thank you. No further questions.
Any public comments?
It both ways, giving 2 weeks for the public to submit anyone that they deem worthy enough to be mayor, and then as well as holding maybe applicants with you guys to approve of 2 or 3, and then submitting those to the public and saying, please make your vote of these 3.
I'd like to address that.
Yes, sir.
I was going to say, I mean, there's no way to have the public vote without an election. So that would be impossible.
Yeah. Okay.
If that makes any sense.
Mhm.
There is no set standard application proof for what you're requesting. In other words, in simple terms, hey, let's see who wants to try to go for this, and at this level, just to say, hey, let's pick somebody from our community to fill the seat, right? That kind of deal. The resistance with that, or the hurdle with that, is the fact that there is no standardized state application other than the application to run for public office. Okay, and it is, from my point of view only, to do such things would be circumventing the will of the people when it comes to something we consider really important, which is voting for your next alderman, mayor, so on and so forth. Okay. My stance, back to the conversation, is if we were to do such things, let's just say we said Zach's it, right? Here's the problem. Nobody out here voted for, at least for our knowledge, voted for Zach to be mayor. And that's not disrespectful to Mayor Pro Tem Hurst. But what I'm making a statement is that when we make those decisions, even though technically we're allowed to do so, we functionally lose the ethical value of the purpose of the vote.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm strongly not in favor of doing stuff like that.
Yeah. I guess follow-up would be, do y'all know of people that would run for mayor for an election? And if so, if not, is there a backup plan?
Absolutely. My opinion is as follows. The whole of Salado, so as long as they've been a resident of Texas for a year and been a resident of Salado for 6 months, they're all capable of coming in and filling out that application to run for mayor. And I would expect a very spirited mayoral race this year as it stands. But to answer your question, ma'am, that is otherwise to me, that is the only direct path to the conversation.
Good enough for me?
You have a great question. Thank you.
Thank you. Anybody else? All right, I'll entertain a motion from somebody to pick from the 3 decisions.
I'll make the motion that we hold off and not until the election and let the voters decide.
So basically, leave the mayor's seat vacant.
That is correct.
Second.
Second. Alderman Dunst made a motion to leave the mayor's seat vacant till the election. Alderman McDonald seconded. Is there any discussion?
Question?
All right. All in favor, say yes.
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 All those opposed, say no. Any abstention? That carries 5-0. 6D, discussion of possible action on adding an additional signature to the Village's bank account and reapproving Alderman Zach Hurst and Village Administrator Manuel De La Rosa as signatories. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, Mayor Pro Tem, historically, and Alderman, historically the village has had 3 signatories for our, sign off on checks. Generally been the mayor, the village administrator, and 1 other person. Currently, it is the Mayor Pro Tem. So with the mayor seat being vacant, it's down to 2. It is my recommendation that we have at least a 3rd person. You can have more, and I think when I came here there was 4, and hardly anybody ever uses the 4th. Maybe every once in a while. I recall the last time it was Mayor Pro Tem Rodney Bell, when Mayor Cog was available, he did come in. So it's always nice to have somebody else. So that is my recommendation, that you select somebody that's available during the daytime, that's available to come in should one of us not be available, so we can sign checks, because historically we had a reputation that we weren't paying our bills on time. We cut checks out every week, and we pay people timely. So, and I want to maintain that reputation.
Yes, I agree. I think we should have a third one, just as a backup. Alderman Sandor?
No question.
No question. Alderman Laster? Alderman Jones?
No question.
Alderman Donald?
No questions, I concur.
Any public comments? No? All right. So, you guys want to nominate someone?
Who wants the job, gentlemen?
I'll move to nominate Alderman Neil Dunch as a alternate signatory, if I'm saying that correctly.
Yes. Alderman Sandor's nominated Alderman Dunch as the third signatory.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman McDonald, and this also reapproves myself and Mr. Della Rosa as signatories too, correct?
Yeah, he would just be the third, the alternate.
Yes. I'm just making sure, because we have to reapprove it. Yes, sir. All right, so is there any discussion?
Question. Thank you.
For all those in favor of Alderman Dunce as a signatory and reapproving myself and Mr. Della Rosa, say yes.
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 All those opposed, say no. And any abstentions?
No, I'm good. Thank you. I'm honored to take the position. Oh. Oh, I didn't. That was okay. I was like, I didn't know it.
It's approved 4-0 and 1.
Yeah, thank you. Sweet.
All right, 6-0, discussion and possible action on accepting public infrastructure within the improvement and sidewalk construction for the new Taco Bell located at 10375 Lark Trail at FM 2484. Mr. Della Rosa.
I am sure you've been by the new Taco Bell restaurant. The improvements to the public infrastructure that you're accepting is the work that was done on Lark Trail, on the east side of Lark Trail at FM 2484, directly adjacent to the restaurants.
Right.
The west side, or the midway line, the western side of Lark Trail is in the county. So when we discussed it with Taco Bell, they were not interested in repairing the entire roadway, only their side of the roadway, right? They wanted the city's participation. Well, where would that come from? So I know that we've received some criticism about the median that's there along Lark Trail. Some of you, gotten some calls on it. It meets the engineering standards, but here's why it went up, why that median went to that small curve, right, in the middle of the roadway. There was improvements along 2484, which is a TxDOT roadway. There was improvements along Lark Trail in the shoulder areas, because Taco Bell, it's a franchisee, has a contract with McLean Industries for the delivery of their food and so forth. Those vehicles could not safely turn into the driveway. There's two driveways at Taco Bell, a northern and a southern. So the southern is one closer to 2484, but these commercial trucks could not turn into that driveway without getting into the southbound line of Lark Trail into oncoming traffic. And that is unacceptable. There's no way our city engineers or staff, we would not approve something that you couldn't safely stay within your lane of traffic, right? So we know people have been driving over the curb. If you go out there, you'll see it, right? There's not enough street lighting out there. It's a county, well, partially in the village, right? Since we annexed that area of the Salado Center development, half that roadway is ours. So this was the best solution to keep Taco Bell moving forward. So those improvements along Trail, that curb, and the sidewalks along Lark Trail and 2484 are not within their property. They're actually within right-of-ways. ours and TxDOT. TxDOT approved it on 2044. We approved it as part of our plans, so we can have some walkability in those areas. So sidewalks sometimes are within right-of-ways, sometimes they're within the property. We assume responsibility specifically when we consider them public sidewalks. So what I'm asking is that you agree to accept that infrastructure, and if you do, the next agenda item is acceptance of the maintenance bond, which means there's a 2-year warranty should the road degrade, the sidewalks get cracked, things like that. So I did receive a report today. I think it was you, Mayor Pro Tem, the signage had been damaged coming out of the Taco Bell.
Oh, yeah.
That signage belongs to Taco Bell, and we will ask them to either repair it, put something much more stable, but that is their signage. And we will make sure for public safety that it gets addressed.
Yeah, I just want to add to that. I should say a right turn.
Right turn only or something like that.
Because it just has the arrow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was cheaper, I guess. I don't know.
I guess
Yeah.
so. All right. Alderman Sandor?
So you mentioned that some people maybe have already hit this concrete median, driven over it, in other words?
Yes, sir.
It looks like it from
Looks
tire,
like it.
tire marks or
Yes,
whatever.
sir.
I haven't seen it, so
Tire
not
marks.
that closely. And my question to you then is, if that's happening, who would be responsible for the repairs to it when it breaks? Should it break?
The
The
village
concrete
will.
divider, yes.
The village will. Over time, the village will, yes. So I know this is fairly new here. The city of Georgetown on Williams Road by the Walgreens west of, put in some of the same type of very narrow curbs, medians, because there's just not enough right-of-way. Today, currently, if we were to put a larger, wider median, the roadway width can't sustain it. That's why we had to work within those parameters. But if somebody damages a wreck and we get accident reports, we may be able to file a claim, but I doubt it. Somebody's going to drive over it, mess up their alignment, and keep on going.
So even including for the next 2 years, the village would be responsible for
No, sir. The next 2 years,
the separate question?
it's a separate, yeah.
Okay.
So the warranty is from craftsmanship. If it gets damaged, they're going to go, yeah, that's not craftsmanship. That's been damaged by somebody else, and we're not responsible for that.
Okay, thank you.
Alderman Lassner?
Yes, to Mr. Devereaux. I actually went there the other night for the first time and checked it out, and I noticed that coming out of the exit onto, what's it, Lark Lane, is that what it is?
Lark Trail.
And I noticed that. I've seen that done in other cities before, and just my recommendation is that the white paint, dividing line paint that TxDOT uses might be a really good thing to put there to identify that curb, as well as I have seen yellow caution signs for the traffic coming that way that shows an esplanade, if you will, in the middle. I'm not sure who pays for that, but those are nominal expenses to paint that, and at least I think it helps visibility at night to seeing it. I could see some people running up on it pretty regularly. The way it's really dark there. There's no lights.
Yes, sir.
So I would ask you to consider that from a safety standpoint, not only for the people but their cars. But yeah, I do understand the economics of it. Just to be clear, everybody understands, is Taco Bell paying for those improvements and not the village, correct?
These additional improvements are beyond the minimum standard, so no, sir. The village would be paying for it. The reason that curb was there and they wanted traffic to turn right is we were concerned that also traffic, as you come through the drive to pull out onto Lark Trail,
Yes.
that they would try to, since there's no light, there's a stacking opportunity. That vehicles would pull out and you have this potential for vehicles traveling on 2484, turning on that roadway at a high rate of speed and not seeing somebody blocking, and we would have a collision. Therefore, it was important that we keep traffic moving. If they come through the drive-through and go back through the parking lot, come up the northern driveway, they can line up. But it is that stacking that's a concern. And it was also to maintain the commercial, so it was dual. But I'll look at it. It'll be a completely separate agenda item. But if it's something we need to address, I will. I'll get with our engineers, see what we need to do to improve that.
Yeah, I don't know what that paint is, but it has some phosphorescent reflective material in it that's white. It makes it a lot easier to see. But if the village was paying for that improvement.
If we do any more work, yeah, I am pretty sure that we will be on it because this meets those minimum standards.
Okay.
Yeah.
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 So we were not out any cost with respect to that.
Yeah, this was all done by the developer.
Okay.
Yes.
That's what
any additional improvements will probably be us for safety purposes.
Okay, that's what I wanted to clear up. The Taco Bell is actually paying for that, and they brought us up to minimum standard, and then we have 2 years from a craftsmanship standpoint, not from damage. But yeah, I would just encourage that whatever they call that paint, and then maybe a caution sign 50 yards or so before you get there to let them know. Those are just suggestions to you. Leave it in your hands. Thank you. Thank you, Mayor.
I know it says we have a choice here, but it doesn't sound like we really do. This is on our property. This is on city property, right? It's in the right of way.
The right of ways, it's our property. The sidewalks, the shoulder, the roadway, the curb.
And this was all vetted before they went in. We were aware of this as a municipality.
Oh, yes,
Okay,
it's pretty standard development on a hard corner. You're going to have the same thing when we do the Grandview Bank at the far east end of that development, or things like that.
I don't have any other questions. Thank you.
Yeah. So I took a quick drive over there tonight because I knew this was going to be on the agenda. I kind of sat there for a minute and watched people pulling out of the area, just in general conversation. I get the whole point of why it's designed that way, and I'm not here to talk about whether or not you like the bump in the road or not, some of the reactions in our community here. What I am going to say is just as a courtesy for all of us to kind of know, based on what I observed tonight in a very short period of time, about 15 minutes. It's not just what you call licensed vehicle traffic that's over there from time to time, because you're right there on the border of the county, things of that nature. I watched a couple of four-wheelers blow in and out of there, jump over the top of that curb and come back and do it again because they have a blast. What I'm making a statement is, I'm just telling you up front. So what I'm making a statement is that we do probably need to address the safety application of that. But in the same instance, I understand why it's designed that way, so that way it does not cause a bigger impediment to a wreck, as you discussed earlier. So that's all I got.
Yeah, so I think there's a learning lesson potentially here. We're using minimum standard language, but I'm pretty sure we would have had the authority to raise that scope of work for that median before we issued a permit. That's happened to me before as a commercial developer. So the paint, any kind of additional striping or any of the reflective little, whatever they are, little, I don't know what they're called, they're dividers. So I think instead of just, because at this point, it is what it is. So if we have to make those improvements, we'll have to pay for it. If we see this again, then I would advise staff to try to see if they could, increase that scope of work so that maybe we don't have to pick up, it would have been nominal probably for the development. Hope that developer's not sitting in here because I don't mean to spend their money with my mouth, but, for us, there's very little things that I think are not nominal at this point.
We would need to improve our development codes and put those in place because, Alderman, I assure you, we get challenged on every word in our development codes. If it doesn't say it's required, it defaults to a standard, and most of it, like TxDOT standards, that they do. We get requests for exceptions, for waivers, for variances on every development nowadays. And I assure you, Taco Bell didn't do this voluntarily. It took us.
I recognize that. It's not my argument.
They took us to task on everything. So to request something that we can't support with a policy that's adopted by ordinance, like we have these traffic standards, They're adopted. They look at those each and every time.
So are you saying that we cannot do what I'm
No,
asking us to do?
we just need to clean up our ordinance
Okay, then
and
that's
not
what we should do.
default. Yes,
Yeah.
sir.
Okay, thank you.
And that's what I'm gonna work on.
I appreciate that.
Yes.
All right, any, no? Any public comments? Oh. Okay. Any public comments?
Apologies, I didn't, Bobby Whitson, 14969 Crows Ranch Road, Bell County Commissioner. I didn't intend to make any comments on this item, but there was something that Mr. De La Rosa said that I just want to make sure we're clear on. He stated that half the road is the villages and the other half is the counties. According to Local Government Code Section 43.106.
43.106?
Yes, sir. Annexation of county roads required in certain circumstances. A municipality that proposes to annex any portion of a county road or territory that abuts a county road must also annex the entire width of the county road and the adjacent right-of-way on both sides of the county road. And that was back in 2015 is when that law came into effect. And it's basically to protect both the county and the municipality and the people traveling the road from having concerns about who's going to maintain what or what stop signaling or median in the middle of the road or where that confusion may cause. So the city has the entire, the ability, the village has the ability to manage the entire roadway. And it does. By effective law, the entire road belongs to the village up to the property line that was annexed. So that first, I don't know how many feet that is in Salado Center.
Quarter mile.
Whatever that is now Village Road. Same thing applies to West Village, Thomas Arnold, when the schools were all annexed, and I think we know all that. But and you've got a road expert on here that's made some good recommendations that I would also recommend as far as safety that are fairly easy to do. Encore, TechStock probably help you with the lighting, and definitely need some lighting out there, but reflectivity, whatever the case may be. A lot of this is just because it's new, and people got to learn it's there, and once they do, it'll be fine. But just want to make y'all aware that that's your road to control. You don't have to worry about us being involved in any of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Michael Ty, 6309 Bow Allen Court, Salado, Texas. Just wanted to make sure everybody was aware of the law and their years of state trooper working crashes. I'll tell you, Transportation Code 545.051 is what we want to look at because it's an unmarked roadway. So that being said, you can be on any side of the road you want as long as you yield half of the road when the car is coming. So like Alderman McDonald said earlier, I've seen it multiple times. Cars are coming out of there. They're actually bypassing the barrier going on the, cutting diagonally to the stop sign to turn right. That being said, it's perfectly within the law according to what's in the transportation code because it has to be marked. So if you were going to do it, you need, and that barrier is not a thing. And I'll read this to you real quick, just very short. Operator shall drive on the right half of the roadway unless the oh, sorry, wrong one. No, that's right. Yeah, that's it. If it's unmarked, you don't have to drive on the right side of the roadway, but you must yield to another vehicle approaching. So, or if there's an obstruction, there's a bunch of other stuff in there. So, transportation code 545. So, if I was to work a crash on an intersection there, if they were pulling out of there and a car hit and the car hits them, well, they failed to give half the roadway but there's an obstruction in the way right now. That curb is not necessarily a legally marked road. So that's where you have the yellow dividers, you've seen the white dividers, all of those things. So just keep that in mind as y'all go forward because crash-wise and transportation code-wise of how we would work that. So just want to do that to y'all.
Thank you. Anybody else? No? All right, I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion to approve 6E as written.
Alderman McDonald has made a motion to approve 6E as written. Second. Second by Alderman Lassiter. Is there any discussion?
question.
Question has been called. All those in favor of 6E, say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. Is there any abstentions? That's 5-0. 6F, discussion possible action on accepting a 2-year maintenance bond from EBCO General Contractors Ltd. for the improvements and construction of public infrastructure within the right-of-way pertaining to the new Taco Bell TACA LL Austin Core. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, this is, I'm showing you if there is the ordinance number and the section that requires the 2-year maintenance bond for public improvement. So it's there. My recommendation is that you approve the maintenance bond provided in the amount of $120,000. That $120,000 is for 100% of all the work improvements that were done within the right-of-way.
Okay.
And so the $120,000 check is held in escrow, is that correct?
No, so it's a warrant. It's like an insurance policy. It's just a bond. There's no cash play.
Okay,
So a bonding company provided the maintenance bond.
okay. So I just wanted that clarity. The formality on all this stuff.
Yes.
Very normal.
Yeah.
No question.
All right. Alderman Lassner.
No questions.
Alderman McDonald.
No questions.
Anything from the public? All right. I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make the motion to approve it.
All right. Alderman Lassner has made a motion to approve 6F as written.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Dunch. Any discussion?
Question.
Question has been called. All those in favor of approving 6F as written, say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed, say no. Is there any abstention? Carried 5-0. 6G, discussion of possible action on MRB Group Task Order Number 002 pertaining to professional services for wastewater treatment plant expansion. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, we tabled this at the last meeting. This is a task force from MRB. And here's the main focus of this evening's conversation, like it was at the last meeting, is how do you want to proceed with improvements or to increase capacity at the village's wastewater treatment facility? We are currently utilizing 26% of 200,000 gallons. 200,000 gallons per day is what we can treat. The Mayor Pro Tem sat in on a meeting with Ms. Pence, myself, with representatives for the sanctuary. They're in the process of starting up the residential development on the east track, which is south of Royal Street, down at the far end, down by the Methodist Church. That's known as the east track, where the Water's Edge apartments and the townhomes, that's known as the north track, and then they have the south track across 2268 by Bloomers. Okay, so the east track, so they're about to start up with some residential development. Some of you, I know, some of you've already stopped in, and as you're there, I show you the drawings for that area for the entrance signs, lots. Part of the discussion was how much capacity do they need? They really thought I had the information. I do not. It might have been provided at one time. They seem to make that claim. It is not here. I've not been able to tell you what it is, and they've hired Pape Dawson. They're going to update their wastewater analysis because they've sold some of the property off the south track to another home builder. And not only that, they're having conversations with staff about the future hotel, convention center, hotel, convention, parking lot, and some other type of venue, okay? Which tells me they're about to have some activity, right? So they will provide an update when they say they will. If I get it in 90 days, I'll be lucky. It's the holidays. Pape Dawson's going to have to update it because they're going to have to provide that information. They will update it. Plus, their schedule came off. In other words, they had always thought that you were going to be connecting developments and utilizing capacity until they needed it, and then you provide it to them. Well, that doesn't work too well if you don't know what it is. They're not on their schedule of how the developments, I mean, they've reached an agreement in 2015. They amended, it was amended in 2022. So 7 years later, so you don't really know when they're going to be at 100% build out or 80 or whatever. I don't have any of their schedule, and they didn't provide it that day, and that was about 3 weeks ago, right, Mayor? About 3 weeks ago. Still not seen it. So I don't anticipate it to get into early 2026 when they're ready to start moving forward. So how much capacity do we need? You saw, I believe it was this board, the Southern Oaks concept plan for Mr. Rosamond on the west side of the interstate over by Williams Road, right? So we're getting a wastewater analysis. They're working through that. We have a development at 2268 on the western side of Gooseneck, outside of the city limits, that would like to annex. Theirs was 229,000 gallons a day. So here's the question. You have several options, and I listed them in here, options A, B, and C. They're not in any certain order, and I'm not recommending one or the other, but I'm going to tell you that if you go for a Texas Water Development grant for funding, that application, it's called a D fund. D stands for development. A development fund application needs to be submitted into the Water Development Board by December 31st. Okay, we can get the application in. I just got to get authorization because MRB is going to charge us, and that's a completely different task order. But that starts a process. That means that as soon as the audit's completed, I provide it to them by the end of March. They meet in May, and if we get awarded, it'll be sometime next summer. Okay? If I miss any of the deadlines, we are out an entire cycle. So it won't be in 2026, it'll be in 2027. And the application, they'll carry it over to 2027. Okay? So the other options are tax or revenue bonds on these kind of projects. Yep. So, but our policies, again, we don't collect impact fees for wastewater at the time of development. Historically, you've not been doing that. You've not had a lot, but you've had Drake's Landing, Sanctuary. You remit it all back to them as part of the incentive agreement. But that's not normal. I stated that the last meeting. I'm telling you, it's not normal. Developments here are used to allowing home builders pay for it. Home builders pays it. You collect your. So now let's look at one of the developments. Drake's Landing, phase 2, phase 3, sitting there. I don't know phase 2 when I came in over a year. Sitting there. The developments for Sanctuary started right before I got here in 2023, a year before I did, based on the number of homes that I see out there in the permitting. They reached an agreement sometime in November 2022 and been sitting there since 2015. I'm not saying you've got to act now, but you certainly have got some developments that are moving today that if you do not start considering how you're going to increase capacity and how you're going to fund that, you're going to lose opportunities. We just received one from Justin King. It'll be on your next agenda packet. Your Cactus Jack development, pulling out over 200 acres, 3 parcels of tract, and you're going to see more of those. They couldn't make their numbers work, and there was no guarantee that we could write sewer on that particular. How best you want to address your capacity issue. Okay. So I know exactly how to. These developers are spending time and energy trying to put wastewater analysis, trying to work out something, but our biggest hurdle is how do we get to the wastewater treatment facility, and we can only increase it by 100,000 gallons, which is what this scope of work is. It increases from 200,000 to 300,000. That means you've got 100,000 gallons. We may be able to use it on one of the developments on the western side of I-35, but it will not work for the one on 2268. Right, or any others at this time. The site, according to our engineers, can only, you can build another matching plant for another 300,000 gallons. So the maximum you would be able to treat at that site is 600,000 gallons per day unless we acquire more land. And Mayor Pro Tem, I don't think they were interested in selling land to us.
No, I don't either.
If anything, they were trying to control development.
Yes,
Right.
they were.
So,
Very much so.
it doesn't mean we can't get access to it. It just means that it won't be friendly. So, but you're in a quandary right now with developments, and if not, we just tell everybody to get on septic systems, and we don't worry about it until, because we don't have the funding. I don't know what to tell these developers when they're calling, other than we'll try to work with them, we'll try to incentivize it, or I've even tried to encourage that they build their own package plants. There's no way that this community will only have one wastewater treatment facility. That's not realistic.
No.
And the topography you have makes it difficult with these low pressure mains, low pressure force mains that we're having in the ground. It doesn't really work well. You really need gravity, you need lift stations, and you need more plants. Both on the eastern side, you've got one, on the western side, and possibly even down in 2268 somewhere. All right, so maybe we're just not getting the right developers right now. They're looking for something. It's not normal for us not to pass on all of those costs to developments. All right, so I'll stop there and let you give me some guidance on this.
Alderman Sandor?
Yeah.
Yeah, sure can. Alderman Lass?
This is pretty much in my wheelhouse. And I understand your dilemma and the need for direction on it. I think it would be very helpful for this board to have an opportunity in a workshop to beat this around, because this goes into the strategic decisions we need to make as a community as to how far we want to go with things like this. I don't know if we're up against the time frame, Mr. De La Rosa, on this money that would come to help us at this point. Is that a concern at this point, or would that be available the following year?
No, there's always low interest loans from the Water Development Board. There's always those. But it takes a year from the time you make application to the time you're funded, depends on their cycle. You're generally 1 year out. Yeah.
Well, I don't think Salado has to be all things to all people everywhere. And so I think the issue of bringing sewer to some places is economically viable, and others there's alternatives to that. I think it's a hybrid decision, however it goes. I just don't think everything needs to have sewer to be viable here. But having said that, I throw that out. That's a longer term. That's a longer term decision to make. The short term is that 100,000. I don't see any reason why we should prolong that effort to at least be in a position to flip the switch and go forward on the 100,000. It may not be this moment this year. It may well be, but I'd rather be in front of it than behind it, most definitely. But as far as additional capacity and promises to deliver to every single developer that wants to be now in and around Salado, I don't have a real strong desire to appease everybody. That's how I feel. That's just open for discussion with the board. But I think we could beat that around pretty good and come up with a decision. But separately, I would I do encourage us to move forward with the planning, the engineering of being ready to go on that.
100,000 gallons?
100,000 when we need it.
Yeah, I mean, that's what we're talking about tonight, just 100,000.
I know, but
He just wants clarification on option A, B, or C, what
I understand. but
we
I-
want to do as a board.
When I look at that, I'm not doing that just in a tunnel.
Right.
I mean, we need to be looking down the road.
Future-wise, I get you.
Yeah, no. That's all I have to say, thank you.
Yeah, for the 400,000, or you need approximately 400,000 and you need some cushion, right? You've got to front the 1.5 million of the construction to get reimbursed. That's why you see one for 450,000. If we don't move on to increase capacity by 100,000 gallons at a price tag of 450,000, you lose 1.5 million. So if you needed to build that sewer plant, you're looking at 1,875,000.
So there's actually a grant available to us, so there's a time crunch, but we have to come up with the money now.
Yes, sir.
So how long have we known about this grant?
And since I came on board.
Is there any other grants we need to know about?
No, these were it. They were all going to be.
Okay, I guess my coming in, I didn't, because we're like feeling where there's a sense of urgency here, because there is. I just want to make sure there's no other urgency of these popping up, because I feel like we absolutely need the 100. We're a growing community. We got to do this, but now we're talking tax notes again, and I guess I'm a little surprised until about the last 2 weeks that this has been. So if that's on me, that's on me. But didn't know if there's any other free money out there that is out there that we need to know about. But with that, I guess my other question is, in that grant, is there in-kind contributions that we can put towards our, because if there's been tremendous effort in this, that's some money that we're not putting towards a grant, if that's a stipulation in the grant.
Yeah, this is the federal EPA grant.
Okay.
So, yeah.
So does that mean, is in-kind not included in
No,
that?
sir.
Okay, just an option. And then I guess to fund it too, for those new developments that are taking it, I know there'll be the standard that for those that are already on, do we have an option to raise the fees on the futures? I know you're saying we didn't put that on the developer up front, but there's no reason we can't fund it by, every new development, the homeowner unfortunately is going to have to pay to have sewer. Do they have an extra charge until it's paid?
Yes,
I mean,
sir.
how do we structure this?
Yeah, you might recall when the Deputy Chief Operations Officer for MRB Group, Trey Taylor, was here. He spoke on that. So the studies, so to be able to impose impact fees, it's statutory. There are certain requirements that you must meet, and that study will run you just a ballpark $25,000-$30,000. To raise your sewer rates, that's another statute, and that has its own. It's a little bit less. It's not as rigorous like impact fees are. So yes, so you conduct those studies, you adopt them into an ordinance, and you amend your ordinance, because you've already done that previously for your impact fees. It was a certain structure. It was raised from 3,000 something to 5,200.
And if we're on a time crunch here, but if we were to structure it that way, I just don't think putting the tax note and putting this liability onto the current people that have been here is the right. But here we are needing the money that we need an extra 100,000. Otherwise, we're going to lose 1.5 million, which puts us in a really pickled situation. And
yes, sir. Let me kind of give you an idea, because I came in here in January of 2024. And I remember having this conversation with Mayor Coggin. Didn't vote for it, said okay, and didn't really like it. And I hear that a lot. But what I do know is the creation of the wastewater plant was voted on by the voters. In its entirety, everybody voted. It passed. I don't know what the margins were and whether supermajority. It benefits primarily new developments because they actually incur costs to connect, and it benefits the businesses. One Main Street, Royal Street, those same businesses that are creating a sales tax. Those sales tax, really, people seem to think that it's free money. It's not. It's actually a revenue stream based on the business. People aren't necessarily going to a business. They're coming to the village in its totality with all of the amenities that it provides. But all of our residents benefit from that sales tax from those businesses operating because septic systems are failing. I've got a person on Rock Creek Drive, not more than 2 lots in off of Main Street. Septic system is failing and they want to get on the city sewer. Okay? The point is, because they're starting to fail. Okay? I would take the position that if it was only a few, okay, well then we need to try to work this out. But we've all agreed, we may be here now and you being there, that this is a city issue. You've got a system that doesn't necessarily is meeting and it's aging. You've got an aging wastewater plant that's going to start having mechanical problems just like your current sewer line in the ground on Main Street. It's aging and we have not put enough reserves to be able to handle those. So I don't necessarily like it that I'm having to propose something. What I am proposing is you got to give it some true consideration, and we can sit on it another week, another month, another couple of months. But you're losing opportunity. The federal EPA still has some time, but it is one of those, it's got to get moving because I'm getting pressure from the project coordinator. It's been stalling too long. What my concern is that our current administration at the federal level will remove those funds.
That's highly likely, yeah.
Yes. So unless you commit and you've gotten, that doesn't mean just because it's been awarded that it can't disappear. You've got to enter into those agreements, start drawing down those funds. Yeah, right now you don't have anything. You've just got an award and we've been sitting on it.
I guess I'm at a point, I definitely feel like we need more dialogue on this, and I would support the workshop and getting community input as well. Sooner versus the latter. That means next week, let's do it next week. But I think we got to consider all the options. Here we are back to figuring out creative financing to make this happen. But I just don't like the idea. And in the short term, if we need to do a note, we'll do a note. But I don't think it should fall on the taxpayers that currently have it. We have got to figure out a strategy to get that funding, and the new people that are using it. I personally like the idea of figuring out a way that we have an ordinance that it shows up. If the developers aren't going to pay for it up front, then it's got to be a separate line item on the future homes that are using it and why it was built, not the people that have been here. That's just my take. I don't have any other questions.
Alderman McDowell. Mr. Delarose, I got a question. To your knowledge, how much was the original wastewater treatment plant that we currently have in our community? How much would that cost today to build that $200,000 today, would you say?
In today's dollars, I've done some improvements to the wastewater plant, so that one's only $300. That's what would be considered an oversized package plant. Package plants are 200,000 gallons, yep. Right?
Yes, sir.
So this is 300,000. You're probably looking somewhere between 12 to 15 million.
12 to 15 million. 12 to 15, and that's for only 200,000 gallons. Am I saying that right?
Sir.
All right, and so for us to add a third more capacity, we're looking at an overall total of, my words, based on the language that's being utilized, somewhere between $400,000 to $450,000 based on these option A, B, and C that's in here, maybe a little bit more depending on which route the board makes an exercise judgment to make. Okay? And you brought it up. I just want to say this out loud. I don't like tax notes. I think I've been pretty adamantly clear about how much I don't like tax notes. I don't like tax notes for the Royal Street project, but I support the wellness of the program because the majority of the board said, let's do this. So I'm in it to win it for the rest of the day. Mr. De La Rosa said it correctly, and there are some of us in this room that were here in this room when this came a conversation at this dais before any of us were ever aldermen, mayor pro temp, or any of the above. At the end of the day, the community voted to put the sewer system in place. At the end of the day, that's the answer. That is called the will of the people. We have a responsibility to make sure that that item that they bought continues to run well. That's how I'm looking at this. This is not a matter to me, professionally speaking, not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. We all get the emails, we all get the phone calls, and we all get the, are you kidding me, this grinder pump or this thing is going down or we're paying this money again for our, I think it's Jacob, coming out to do repairs and needing this and that and so forth. What I'm making the statement to the board is as follows. I respect the fact that some of us have maybe are hearing this newer, but it's not new information, to be fair. But it is here in our hands no matter what. And anytime Mr. De La Rosa says the board has had this in their hands, you may say, well, I haven't had it in my hands yet. Well, technically the board is a continuity conversation. So it has been in our hands, and that's fair. Why I'm making a statement on this project is that this is a utility that we're functionally providing because the will of the people was met. And we have a responsibility to make sure that that continues to run well, and it is managed at the best cost analysis that we can provide based on the opportunity of this grant. That's how I'm looking at all of this. So, I have a question for Mr. De La Rosa, and that is, what is the drop dead date, no matter what, that we need to have this information to you based on the current federal administration being able to pull the cork on this tomorrow morning?
Yep, I can't recall the date. I'll have to pull it up. So.
Okay.
Yeah.
Would you say we need to have this answer by the end of the year? Or by the end of November? Or?
Yeah, I would say that we probably need to give them some type of what we're going to do within the next 6 months.
Okay, 6 months.
Yeah, he needs direction.
So
he can give them direction.
Well, to keep it simple, I'm already looking at options A, B, and C, telling me what 3 options that you have. Are there any other options that we don't know about that you're not aware of?
Not that I'm aware of.
Not that you're aware of, and that wasn't a challenge to your knowledge. It's just, is there an option D, E, and F somewhere that you just thought, well, those are real risky?
No, look, I did. Some of the conversations were, could we do a longer-term revenue bonds, like sewer revenue bonds, water revenue bonds? But you don't have very good credit, and in all likelihood, in conversation with your financial advisor, Christina Lane, which is you wouldn't qualify.
Okay. And I like to look at the simple math equation of time. He said 6 months. 6 months is before the May election. So in other words, if the idea would be to put it as a GO bond and put it on a voting opportunity, we're going to be out. That date's going to be outside the bubble. Am I saying that properly based on time analysis? So it's going to have to be made at this dais. I'm just getting ahead of it, no matter what. So the direction would be nothing more than tonight we have options. We could go right for the jugular and make a motion to fund it based on what we know right here, right now, based on our study material. Or we can pause on it, collectively come together, have a conversation in a workshop as been recommended by 2 aldermen, to do nothing more than put all the cards on the table and look at the real cost analysis and let the community know what's going on in that aspect. Because I'm certain without a doubt there's going to be members of our community that are going to be no matter what. Okay? But I also know there's going to be members of the community that's going to be yes no matter what. But I like to remind us all that we were elected by the community to make those decisions. And that's all I have. Thank you.
All right, yeah, the only thing I got is, it was a community-wide vote to say yes. But after looking and living here for 5.5 years, everybody cannot stand this sewer system because they don't get to use it. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I was a fan of the tax rate, but then I got to thinking about it. I'd say we go with the C fund. We gotta have it in by the end of the year, right? Then it's gonna take another year. But I mean, that's just me. That's what I'm saying today. I mean, but, anything else? Yeah. Oh, that's right. You yielded. Sorry.
So I have a lot of thoughts, and I knew we'd get stuck on this one tonight, and that's okay. Some general ideas. It would be irresponsible for this board. This board doesn't have the expertise in its whole to make a decision on something this big tonight. That's my opinion. Option D, or I'm sorry, was it C? Which one did you just mention? With
A.
I'm sorry?
A.
The D fund.
D fund.
D
A was
fund,
the D
thank
fund,
you, sorry.
Sorry.
So anyways, I don't like tax notes either, for the record. I do think that we need to workshop this and really get into it and get the meat and potatoes out there and figure it out. To Alderman Lassiter's point about satisfying every developer, I think that that's mostly accurate. I mostly agree with that. I don't think we're responsible to do that. I think that there should be some consideration from this board as to which development we're being asked to come into the village, ahead of the other ones. I think if you look at that, you're going to find that the one on the west side, the Southern Oaks development, is probably first in the things that we're looking at today in regard to residential or mixed-use development. Is that right?
Yes, sir.
And I think that I looked at the math on that one, and that's the one that, according to the data that was provided to Mr. De La Rosa's office, they need about 100,000 gallons a day. And so while we're responsible to make sure that we keep capacity available for the
Sanctuary.
Thank you, the sanctuary development, a couple things. We should consider the chronological order of which these things came in as an ask from developer to developer. We are going to run out of bandwidth in all the things. We won't likely be able to satisfy everyone. We just need everybody to keep in mind, when you leave a development in the county, those people are still driving on your roads that we're paying for. They're still going to your schools that we pay for. They're still doing all these, and the schools may not be relevant because, but they're going to have an impact on this village and all of its infrastructure, whether they are in the village or whether they are just outside of it. So everybody needs to pay attention to that. It's easy for people to say, I don't want you guys to do that. Just leave it in the county. Who cares? It's not our problem. It is your problem. It's everyone's problem. So there needs to be a lot of consideration given here. And to Alderman Dunch's point, it is maybe frustrating, for lack of a better word, to have to hurry these very big decisions through so quickly. It seems seemingly all the time. So hopefully this board in the coming months will be able to help your office get in front of any other things that may be like that, where we could probably try to reduce some of that pressure so that these decisions can be made in a timely, more careful manner. So I think that's all I have. Thank you.
Okay. Anybody else? No. Any public comment? No? All right. So, you guys want to do you don't want to do anything tonight on it?
Mayor Pro Temp, I think we should probably table it for the purpose of moving it to a workshop. That's my
That's what
recommendation.
I'm asking.
Yes,
If you
sir.
guys want to do a workshop, then
I do.
Yes.
not make any decisions tonight.
I would totally support that.
Christmas Eve.
All right. We're going to table it
Okay.
until, I guess, we figure out a day to do a workshop within our time restraints of making the public aware that we need one.
Mayor,
Say within the next.
And just for clarification, I would like for that to be a workshop. I don't want it to go to vote. I want the community to have a time to talk, to come in, and their time can be done, and we can take their community input. Okay, well, last time we did a workshop, it really wasn't a workshop because we took it to vote. That's not a workshop. A workshop, there's no vote.
Well, there is a vote if you want to.
There is, but I'm just asking that it's a workshop that would not require a vote.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we all agreed on a vote that last one.
But it was up for vote
Yeah.
in the agenda.
But we didn't ask. We could have bypassed the vote. That's all I'm saying. Just because it says vote on there doesn't mean.
Well, that's some agenda item in here, but yeah.
Okay. So we're going to table it to come up with a good date for say the next week and a half.
Okay.
Is that good with?
Well, I have a quick question. So if we're going to table, if we're moving to table and preparing for a workshop, Is it customary that we define when that workshop's going to happen right now? Or are we just going to work on that not in this meeting? I'm asking that.
No, I mean, he has to get together and see what's on the calendar already. Then we have to put out public notice.
And availability because of workshop to workshop.
Yeah. That's why I said within the next week and a half, we can come over.
Can the workshop happen on the same day as a regular alderman meeting, but ahead of it?
Could.
Could, but I don't think you'll get much public here at, say, 4 o'clock in the afternoon. It's too early in the day.
Okay. Thank you.
Because it doesn't have to be on a Thursday. We can do it on a Tuesday, Wednesday, Friday, Saturday even. All right. Table.
So you want it during the month of November?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to send out an email tomorrow. I'm expecting a response with availability.
Okay. All right. Item H, discussion of possible action on a sign variance request for the new O'Reilly Auto Parts store located on FM 2484 east of Lark Trail in the Salado Center development for a pole sign and an additional wall sign. Mr. Pence.
Mayor Pro Tem and Alderman, thank you. The current ordinance permits one freestanding pole sign with a maximum height of 20 feet and a maximum sign area of 64 square feet. Additionally, only one wall sign is allowed on the building facade, which must not exceed 10% of the total wall area of the building. In the variance request, the business owner is seeking approval for a pole sign with the height of 35 feet, where 20 feet is allowed, and a sign area of 108 square feet, where 64 feet is allowed, according to our ordinance. The BOA, the Board of Aldermen, has previously approved signage within this same development, including a 28-foot tall and a 100 square foot sign for Taco Bell. And then, of course, if you recall, that we approved the church sign, but not at their variance request. That was what the ordinance stated, which that one will be a 20-foot high sign. Just to clarify, O'Reilly Auto Parts is located 2 lots east of Taco Bell within the Salado Center. Most people call it the QT. I think as we get more and more development over there, they'll change that name and start calling it the proper name of the development. A representative is here tonight to speak to you and answer any questions that you may have regarding this variance for the signage. And at this time, I have nothing else to provide for you unless you have questions, but I'll let the representative come up.
Alderman Sandor.
Yeah, I have a question for you, Gina.
For me? Okay.
Yes. I see what this variance, how this variance reads. Do you have in front of you what we approved as a variance for Taco Bell?
Yes, that was what I had just, let me go back to that.
I didn't write it down, and
That's
I
okay.
can't see what you're looking at.
Taco Bell is 28 feet in height, and we approved 100 square feet for the face of the sign.
Okay.
So it was 28 by 100.
And the church one that we recently did again?
That was 20 feet in height. They followed the ordinance standards, 20 feet in height, that's 64 feet, square feet. At the end of the day, that's what they decided to go with. That was the church.
Sure. You got anything else, Alderman Sandor?
Yeah, I think that the board should consider not going beyond what we've already approved for Taco Bell in regard to height and overall size on the pole sign.
Okay. That's it. Alderman Laster?
Taco Bell sign was 100.
Square feet?
Yes.
The face? Yes, sir.
Yeah, okay. And they're asking for 108.
That would be correct, sir.
Okay. Are we talking just about the pole sign right now, or are we talking about the other two as well?
So the variance is for both, for one additional wall sign, because the ordinance only allows one, and they're going to have two, one on the front and then one on the east side.
Okay. I'll wait to hear from the representative on why there's a need for one on the east side. And then the sign on the front of the building, tell me about that relative to what our ordinance is, if you would remind
So
me.
it meets all the standards, and there was no variance request because that is their one, that the ordinance says that you can have one wall sign.
And it meets the specifications of our ordinance at
It does.
20 feet, 11 inches, and
It cannot exceed 10% of the maximum.
building area.
Yes.
How much is it?
And the representative has all those figures tonight as well.
Okay.
The actual wall sign, the square footage is 121 square feet.
Yeah, that'd be about right. 121. Thank you, Gina.
You're welcome.
And I'll ask him what the building. It's just the front of the building, right? 10% of the front of the building.
Correct, but the one that we'll be looking at will be on the side, and it's still 10% of that side, the east side.
So the one on the front is two code, a two ordinance.
Exactly, sir.
Okay, so
We're
you're
not worried about
asking
that
for
one.
anything, just
No,
the
sir.
one on the side. Okay,
Yes.
Thank you, ma'am.
I know you said the church stuck with the requirement. Do you remember what we allowed them to do?
Exactly what was in the ordinance, the
Okay.
20 feet in height and 64.
Just need to refresh. Okay, thank you. Alderman Johnson?
This is the second time this has come to our table, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right, the first time we did this, if memory serves, we, as a board, we denied this because nobody was here to respond to our questions. Am I saying that properly?
That is correct.
Was there any additional fees incurred to the village to come to the board again to ask for this exception again?
It was resubmitted, and you have all that information in your packet, including that receipt. Yes,
Thank you
sir.
very much for that. I just want to say that out loud.
Yep.
Okay, no further questions, ma'am, from you. Thank you.
Okay.
Hear from, what is it? Eunice?
Hi, my name's Eunice. I'm with Santec Signs Design Company.
What company, ma'am?
Santec Signs.
Santec, okay.
Yes. I'm just here to see if if you guys will allow us to have the second wall sign on the building, and then the 35-foot tall pole sign with the 108 square feet.
I don't know.
Good? All right, Alderman Lassiter.
Did I miss something? She was saying a 35-foot tall sign?
That's what we are applying for, yes.
Yeah.
That's on the pole sign?
Mm-hmm.
And I guess you're just instructed to do what O'Reilly wants you to do. I was going to ask the question, why did they feel like there was a need to have a sign on the side of the building, one, and why would it have to be that big? But I don't think that's a fair question to ask you.
Okay. Well, I don't know the answer exactly, but since we are next to 35, I feel like we should have like more of like 35 is really busy, right? I mean, I know sometimes we don't have time to be on our phone, or so an emergency comes up. I think we should be a little bit more visible for us drivers on 35, because it will be on the side of 35, that side of the wall. Where
He'll be
we want the
facing
sign.
us.
Yeah.
Yeah, on the east side.
What lot are they on?
The second one in, correct? Yeah.
Behind QT, yeah.
Oh. That's a stretch for me to believe at 80 miles an hour on the highway they're going to see that, but it's okay. No comment.
I don't have any questions. Thank you.
McDonald. I do. So my question to you is this, for O'Reilly's purposes, if you go back and you inform them that we denied this request by chance, what is your next option? To make signs in accordance with the village's ordinances in the first place? I'm just asking a question.
Oh, could you repeat your question? I'm sorry.
Absolutely. So in the event the board does not coalesce to your request, in other words, we don't agree with this based on simple vote, are you going to then just put up signs based on our ordinance standards of, and I'm going to paraphrase, 20 feet tall, 64 square feet base? See where I'm going with this?
Yeah.
Okay, so what is going to be your professional approach to your organization?
They were pretty firm with what they want.
Sure.
I guess because I do have a plan B that.
What is your plan B, ma'am?
28-foot tall pole sign, but keep the same size cabinet for the pole sign, and then for the wall sign, make smaller. But I do want to add, our wall sign is at 121 square feet, and the right side of the building measures 91.4 feet in length.
Yes, ma'am.
And then 21.4 feet tall. And
so that's roughly about 1,950 square fascia feet, somewhere in that aspect, correct?
Yeah. So
okay.
Or that equals to 195 square feet allowed.
Okay.
So, I don't know. I mean, I'm guessing we're not going with the wall sign either. We don't agree.
No, let's take one thing at a time. What I'm asking you is, what are you willing to work with us too? Because we have a community to take care of, and we understand the need for these signs. We truly do. But we want to make sure that we are not turning that into a sign garden, and by any other language, and we have to put some control measures in place, man. That's what I'm making the statement. That's why we're here to make these decisions.
Okay.
So I ask apparently I'm asking all the harder questions today.
Yeah.
And that's okay.
Okay. Well, I'm going to go back to O'Reilly's and let them know that we were denied and it was not allowed. So I guess it would be up to
You're
them.
not denied yet.
Not denied, ma'am. I'm just asking.
Not yet.
Oh.
Or who says we are? We don't know
let
yet.
Let me start the conversation again. In the event that the board does not agree with your request, what is your plan B, and how are you going to meet the needs of your customer and the needs of this community based on the ordinance of these signs? That's what I'm asking you.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Well, that would be my plan B, the 28-foot tall pole, with the same size cabinet.
Yeah, which is the 108 feet, because it sounds like that's a pre-cut mold already from what I'm hearing. Yeah.
And then make the secondary wall sign smaller.
Okay. How much smaller, ma'am?
That's what I couldn't say right now.
Okay. I'm going to pause, and I'm just going to ask Mr. De La Rosa, because Ms. Pence is not at the podium, what is the square footage size that we're allowed to have on the side of the building based on that calculation?
10%.
10%, which roughly means 195 square feet of some value to the wall sign. Am I saying that properly? And how big is the sign on the wall sign right now?
121 square feet.
Okay, so it's below the minimum standards, not an issue conversation. So the real conversation is really the 108-foot big fascia sign and your 35-foot pole that you're originally asking us for. Am I saying that properly?
Well, no, right? Or, so we want the cabinet.
She's going to rescue you. It's okay.
I was just a little nervous, sorry.
It's okay, ma'am. We're not here to make you nervous. We want you to be comfortable.
So I do want to clarify, most of the commercial businesses that are seeing us are having more than one wall sign. We've seen that. We've been approving that. Of course, at the end of the day, this is your approval, your right to approve if we want more than one sign. The sign for the second wall is below the standard of what it needs to meet. So we are definitely there.
Okay.
The pole sign, as I'm understanding, the secondary option is meeting the same height as Taco Bell. So if it's 28 feet high is what she's recommending for the secondary, if I had that correct. Yes, Eunice? You said that an option would be 28 feet high? Yes.
This is still my conversation. Let's make sure. Okay. So here's what I'm making the statement to the board, ma'am, and thank you, Ms. Pence, and thank you, ma'am, for answering my questions to the best of your ability. Okay. I would say that because the wall sign is below the standard of, in other words, below the standard of the max size square footage, I don't think that's a real hard conversation to have professionally here. However, I do believe a 35-foot tall sign is a little large as far as height is concerned. But if from my point of view, I can see where a negotiation of that, where if they were to make it the 20-foot size, which is our standard, but give them the gray standard of the 108, which is only 8 technical feet more than what we've done for Taco Bell. That's 8% is where I look at it from that point of view. That's all. That's my 2 cents to the board in this conversation.
Go.
So, okay, so Mr. Pence, yeah, thank you for the data more than once on Taco Bell on the pole sign. Did this board approve additional wall signs for Taco Bell in a variant? Is that what you stated a minute ago, that we had been approving that for other?
Well, we had, because we've done that for McDonald's, and we actually did it for another secondary business, and I'm trying to think of who it was. I'm not sure if it was it might have been no, it wasn't Taco Bell. It was another one. So.
Can't remember who it was.
I know, but we have.
Yeah.
It really seems to be standard. Well, McDonald's was, exceptional. There were several, because you've got to drive through, and our ordinance doesn't allow for all that. So.
Yeah, I think on a case by case though, McDonald's technically is on the frontage of I-35, whereas this one absolutely is not.
Agreeable.
I will continue to ask this board to consider to not go beyond 28 foot tall and 100 square feet, and I see no reason to allow for an additional sign on the wall over there. Based on what we heard from the representatives, the answer to why they needed it was for visibility from 35, and I disagree. That's all I have.
Sure. Anybody else?
Just one, I know we got it has to be within 10%, you said, of the building area, right? I thought it was 64 square feet was the max, though.
So are you talking the pole sign, sir, or the wall sign, just so I'm following?
The wall sign. The pole sign, sorry.
The pole sign
is
64 square feet on the face. Right. Yes, sir.
The 10% is, I got a little confused.
Yeah, the 10% is for the wall.
Got
yes.
It. Okay.
Is that it? Yep. Thank you, Ms. Bent.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Any public comment? No? Well, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll move to, I'm going to mess this up a little bit, to approve a variance request for the pole sign only, 6H, not to exceed 28 foot in height on the pole sign and 100 square foot on their base area. And to not include the wall sign. I don't think we can do that. I'm sorry, I don't know how you want me to say that. I'm just trying.
Oh, no, you're doing good. I got it right here. I got you. Second?
Second.
All right. Alderman Sandor has made a motion to approve a sign height of 28 feet and 100 square feet with 0 side signs. And it's seconded by Alderman McDonald. Is there any discussion?
Yeah, for clarification, this, we're saying the side sign is out, but the wall sign is still in.
The front.
The front is
Oh,
still,
yeah.
yeah, okay. Because you mentioned wall sign, it's the second, it is the second sign is what, I thought I heard you say the wall sign for the second. but-
I'm sure I misspoke.
Yeah, it's the second, okay, got it.
It's the second wall sign.
Just for, okay, good.
All right. Discussion? No, is there any discussion?
Yes, I'd like to talk about it a minute, but it's Alan.
No,
No, we already
We're
made a
past-
motion. We're past that. We're just, if you have anything else.
you can speak whatever.
Well, I think Alderman Sandor is definitely on the right track. I really don't like making the standard now going forward 28 feet because that's what we did with Taco Bell. Because if we are, we pretty much are getting further, putting both feet in concrete on it, and we're getting away from what our ordinance was really trying to do, so we can expect everybody else, with good reason, to say, I want 28 feet as well. I do believe that the 100 square feet is more than, is plenty adequate. I have no problem with that. The height of the sign is just, I can't go along with that. But you're suggesting it be 28 feet, so I do think that's progress in the right direction. I just would like the board to, think about the long-term effect. We will continue to take these on a case-by-case basis. This certainly wouldn't be out of the new norm, but it's certainly beyond our ordinance as an ongoing issue, and it will continue to be all the way up and down and all north, south, east, and west. So I personally like the smaller height sign. I think 20 feet is plenty big enough, given 100 feet, but that's all about it.
Okay.
So one quick one on that. I think on that run of commercial lots, you have one more blank lot or one more lot for sale. I think it could be two, but either way, one or two. So I think your idea, I agree. I mean, it wasn't this exact board that started that. It was before we were voted in. And I think what's fair for one business should probably be fair for the other. But to your point, instead of opening Pandora's box, my decisions are based tonight on only those lots that are on that part of that exact development along 2484. Did I say that right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
In that development agreement.
I would probably have some different considerations if someone made a variance and they weren't right there, perhaps. Yeah. I hear what you're saying, and I appreciate that as well. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Any more discussion?
Question.
All right. All those in favor of approving the motion of the sign height at 28 feet at 100 square feet with the no secondary sign, all in favor say yes.
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 All opposed say no.
No.
No. Any abstentions? That's 4-1-0. Item I, discussion of possible action on a waiver request from subdivision ordinance 2009-03, section 3.6. Boleg E, residential lots shall not have more than 1/2 of their perimeter boundaries along streets on Lot 1, Block 2 of Winter Circle, Phase 2, Section 2, the intersection of existing Winter Circle and proposed Hogan Circle, results in a condition where more than 1/2 of the perimeter of Lot 1, Block 2 is along a street that does not meet the lot standard.
Mayor Pro Tem, thank you for reading that. So, in your packet, you will find a comment letter from our city engineer, MRB Group, notifying the village that the construction plat does not meet the subdivision ordinance requirements concerning Lot 1, perimeter boundaries along the streets. You will also find the waiver request letter from the owner/developer seeking your approval of a waiver. Please note that all of the lot line any of the lot line adjustments would result in the same issue due to the irregular shape of those lots. And you do have the Exhibit A that shows you Lot 1 and the other lots that are close by in that Block 2. A representative is here tonight to speak on behalf of the owner regarding the requested waiver and to answer any questions. At this time, I've given you all the information that I have to share with you.
Bring them up.
We'll charge you extra for that. Just state your name and your address, please.
Hi, Dylan White is 781 Adeline Lane, Salado. Free to answer any questions you have.
All right. Alderman Sandor, you got any questions?
I have no questions. Do have a comment, though. I think in reviewing this, it is the irregularity of their entire developed subject area that's the cause for the need of this variance request. Seems reasonable to me to request something like this, given the overall shape of the land that they're trying to develop. Also, that parcel of land was developed around by Mill Creek many, many years ago, and I think it would be good for Salado to probably infill that piece of land as an infill development project for Salado, in my opinion. That's it.
Alderman Lasker.
I agree with Alderman. And I'm particularly happy with the fact that it's passed a lot. And all that maintenance that you have on the side of the road, that's yours, right?
Maintenance on the side of the road?
I mean, on the side of the winter circle, all that furniture right there.
Yeah,
Yeah. Thank you.
Alderman Dunn.
I do not have any additional questions. Thank you.
Alderman McDonald.
Yeah, I just have a general question that popped in my head. It's for Mr. De La Rosa in simple terms. Forgive me, I've not been out to this actual property. I probably drove around it numerous times. I just never put my eyes on it from the point of view of what you're requesting. Is there, pause real quick, is there a home already standing on this property?
No, there's not.
And you're about to do something?
Yes.
Okay. Mr. De La Rosa, would there be, I'm just going to put it out there in general terms, would a restrictive covenant be involved with anything in this conversation, could be applied to in this conversation?
No, sir. No,
Nothing of value at the moment?
No, the waiver's the best. What's going to happen is this is part of the construction plat. So consider the construction plat a preliminary plat.
Got it.
Needed this waiver so we could make a notation on the construction plat. That way there isn't any substantial changes between the construction plat and the final plat. It would be irresponsible for not to get it on the construction plat, then we get the final plat and we deny it because it doesn't meet our ordinance. So we're trying to get ahead of it so he doesn't have a future problem in the future.
Okay, so thank you for that. With that being stated, no further questions, and thank you for your time, sir.
Yes, thank you for your time. Any public comment? No? I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve that item 6I. Is it I?
All right, Alderman Lasker,
6I is written.
Yeah. Made a motion to approve 6I as written.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Dunch. Is there any discussion?
Question?
Question has been called. All those in favor of approving 6I say yes.
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 All those opposed say no. Any abstention? Passed by 5-0. 6J, discussion of possible action on approving the 2026 village holiday schedule. Mr. De La Rosa.
Okay, before you is the proposed 2026 holiday schedule. It is the same holiday schedule that that was adopted a year ago for the current 2025 year. And it is the same schedule that's been going on it's the same set of holidays for a number of years in violation of our city policy. So what you see is the 12 days down below, like copied and pasted it down for you. So one time you had total 12 days, including a floating holiday. Sometime about a year ago, because I came in January 2024. They didn't know where the schedule came from. So for this year, 2025, late 2024, I said, where's our holiday schedule come from? I don't know. So let me look at the personnel policy because I recall seeing it. And that's when I realized. So I brought it to the board's attention last year. It's just been low priority for me to amend the personnel policy, which is why it just got off my radar. But the point is these days have been going on for some time, this schedule. It was adopted just like it is now. So if you adopt it, it's contrary to what's in the personnel policy. We're going to have to clean up that personnel policy. We've actually been looking at that personnel policy, trying to clean up it needs some revisiting. So, if you're in agreement, if you want to strike some, if you want to add more dates, it's up to you.
Alderman Sandor?
Would you back up a little bit? What did you say is the front side of that? You said that there's a conflict or something?
Yes, the 12 days listed down below.
Yes.
It's what's in our personnel policy.
Okay.
Not the top 14 days. The top 14 days, you see them listed 1 through 12, and then day after Christmas and Thanksgiving. So.
MLK and Juneteenth are the ones on the top that are added, not on the bottom.
Yeah. So I understand it's been going. I didn't go very far back. I just saw that that's what was being adopted.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
this is what we approved last year, right?
It is. It's exactly the same one.
Yeah.
Any other?
No, we approved the top last year for 2025.
So I mean, this is administrative item.
Goes against the personnel policy, and I'm not authorized to go against our personnel policy.
That does.
Okay, fine. Do you have a recommendation then, since it's an administrative item that needs to be managed, that you need our approval for?
I think that if you change it, the employees that have been around for a while are so accustomed to it that they may not necessarily be happy. But no, I don't have a preference one way. This is a lot more than I'm accustomed to. I'm accustomed to between 10 and 12 days, not 14.
But about a year ago, the board approved the 14.
Mm-hmm. We did.
Yeah. Yeah. So we just need to decide if we're going to continue that or not.
Yes.
Okay. I don't have any other questions.
All right. Alderman Lasker. No question. Alderman Douglas.
Just follow in with governmental standard bank holidays.
The federal holidays.
That's the basic federal holidays.
Yes.
Standard. So we're just basically the policy has been up. We just need to update the policy.
Yes, sir.
What is more the federal standards? Okay, I got no other questions. Thank you.
And you're indifferent either way on this conversation, correct?
Always have been. Yes, sir.
No further questions. Thank you, Mr. De La Rosa.
Any public comments?
Nope.
No?
Are you, Ms. Whitson, are you coming up?
Ms. Whitson, are you coming up to talk or? Oh, okay. All right, so no public comments. I'll entertain a motion.
I moved.
Good.
I moved to approve this the way that it was approved a year ago. So is that as written?
It's 14
Okay.
days.
The
14 day.
Yes. So I moved to approve agenda item 6K with the 14-day city holiday schedule.
6J.
What?
6J.
6J. Sorry,
6J.
guys.
All right, Alderman Lasker has made a motion to approve the proposed 2026.
Sandor did.
I'm sorry, what did I say?
You
said
all
something
last.
Oh, I'm sorry. Alderman Sandor made a motion to approve the proposed 2026 village employment holiday schedule. 30 seconds.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Lassiter. Is there any discussion?
Question.
Question has been called. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Any abstentions? That passes 5-0. Moving on to 6K, discussion and possible action on approving and establishing an implementation date for the fiscal year 2025-2026 employee compensation increase. Mr. Delaware.
Okay. I addressed it partially in the email that was sent to you regarding that there was an error made by the accountant to implement the 3% increase without having that discussion with me or getting your input on it. Let me explain something about budget. Just because it's budgeted doesn't mean that it gets spent without sometimes board approval. You're the approving authority. So same thing, I look at the same thing as been with compensations. So there are cities that do an October 1 or whatever the first day of fiscal year. Some do January 1st, some do April 1st, right? Generally, I prefer the January 1st. You might recall that I mentioned that during the budget process. And the reason being is, especially cities that are financially strapped, the property taxes start coming in slowly in October, increases November, and then it really hits us in December. So when you're financially strapped, you don't start giving out increases. Now, that a 2-week period generates about $1,200. All of the increases for all employees, including myself, when we went through this, it's about $31,200, and it varies slightly on overtime. Okay, but those are the numbers. So it's we did not do this last year on October 1st. I thought I made that clear last year. We were served with a petition in December, and we decided at that time that because we were going to have to refund property taxes based on due to the petition, that we would not give out any pay raises that year. So in effect, this is an increase over a 2-year period. Okay, it's a cost of living, not a merit. So again, I think my accountant came to the realization we don't do something without discussing with me first. So should you desire to do it at any other time, I mean, I recall at one of my last employments that we used to do January 1st, and I was asked to move it to mid-December to help the employees be able to, have some extra cash during the Christmas holiday. I'm not stuck on any one date. I don't generally recommend on the first day of a fiscal year until you start getting some revenue streams, especially if you don't have reserves built up, to which we do not. How do you want to proceed?
Alderman Sandor.
So a couple of points you made. It's cost of living, not merit. That's obvious. Staff did not get a cost of living increase last year because of the reasons you mentioned, which we all understand. And you have seen when these increases happen, you've seen them done after the first of the new calendar year, and then you've also seen them done prior to the end of the year. Is that right?
They're usually done about January, the first pay period starting after January 1. There was only one time we had to move it to December, the middle of the month of December. Especially when you have a larger force. We have payrolls with laborers, weekly pay, bi-weekly, and bi-monthly. So it's different environment. So what do you want to do here? Now, historically, they said that it's been happening historically. Well, I beg to differ. We didn't do it last year, so that wasn't a very good response. And I always believe that the Board of Aldermen or any city council, well, just because we budget, and we or other cities where I've worked, we budget at 5%. That doesn't mean you get 5%. It would be whatever the board decides. Yeah. The council. So most of them were 3 or 4%, not at 5.
So if what we're being asked to consider is 3% increase for staff across the board, also across 2 years, not just the last 12 months, then I like that idea. Even though we are in a tough financial position, I want to commend you for not advocating for it for yourself. I think that that's commendable. But I also believe that things are more expensive always tomorrow than they were yesterday. And if we've been waiting 2 years, then I think that these people should be taken care of. And I applaud them for sticking it out with us, with the Village of Salado, when there just wasn't another option reasonable. And we really don't have a good financial position today, but it is a tiny bit better than it was a year ago. And so people need to buy groceries, and they need to be able to afford to keep their lights on, and they need to be able to afford to do some travel to see family and things like that. So I hope that that we'll take a hard look at that and try to help them. But my question would be for the board to help consider when that should happen if we decide to approve it, because I don't really know if January is better than, sooner is better than later, or if it matters. I don't know that part. That's it. That's my comment. Thank you.
Alderman Lassiter.
Alan's on point tonight, or he's losing ground, because I feel a lot like him. So on that, I can't echo enough appreciation either for the staff. Since we can alter our payment increase whenever we really want, I'd like to this year, since they've suffered through this so far. We all know how far inflation is, real inflation has been. I would personally like to see this just moved up to December if Manny can do that. And I think we could probably finance that, I would hope, for that very time, so they get a head start for next year. And then when we get to it next year, we can move it back to January, whenever you want. But I would say the sooner the better, seems to me, because they've waited long enough already. That's all I have to say.
I concur with everything that's been said. I'm just going to sound redundant, but I just want to give kudos to the staff. Incredible job, wearing lots and lots of hats. It's certainly recognized and much appreciated. So I'm the sooner versus the latter. I think it's well deserved. I just wish we had the finances to do more. So thank you guys, appreciate it.
Alderman McDonald.
This is currently in the budget for this 3% raise, correct? It's just a matter of when we need to pull the trigger.
Yes, sir.
Right? Okay. It is just the beginning of November. In simple terms, where are we at collecting any property taxes so far? In other words, are we in the black, in the red, or where are we at right now? When I say collecting, what I mean by that is when you discuss prudence, kind of makes you want to look at the January timeframe, because that way you know at a minimum everybody by statute or by law will now have been paid their taxes, unless there's a late fee that they're going to incur and blah, 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 blah. We all know how that works. That's the super minority conversation versus the majority conversation. So when do we really start seeing that windfall of money coming in for that conversation?
A report came in today, dated for tomorrow, from the appraisal district. So for the month of October,
yes,
a little over 200,000 has come in.
A little over 200,000 come in. Okay.
I can't recall, 230, something like that, but it wasn't very high.
Sure.
It was low 200.
Limited at best. Yes, okay, thank you for the answer, Mr. Delaro. I understand everybody here too as well, and I just want to kind of be very pragmatic in the conversation. Without a doubt, our staff deserves a pay raise, without a doubt, without a doubt. But in the same instance, just remember that the reason that there wasn't anything last year is because the community made a decision, amongst other things, to not fund paid raises as part of that conversation. So just be advised, at least from that point of view. But as far as if it's budgeted into the system here at this point in time, I'd say prudent, still being prudent, that we should be, because we're on a limited budget as it is, and we don't know what we got the rest of the year coming so far. I would say yes on 3% for obvious reasons, but I would like to at least look at taking the administration's advice and maybe turning that on in January of this coming year. That's where I'm at. No further questions or comments.
And if I can add, how would you like to treat my compensation? Some cities treat it like employees.
Okay.
Some of you have seen my agreements.
Right.
And sometimes they're treated separately, right? So you don't get to assess, you don't get to evaluate me until the spring.
Yes.
And it's by design. The reason being is elections are in May. It is not fair to be evaluated by elected officials that have not worked with me.
Well, I agree.
Right.
An reasonable
So that's what we
statement.
did. So when I was hired in January 2024, within 90 days, at or about, I think for a few days after, I had an evaluation.
March?
Yes, sir. And then I had one a year later.
Mm-hmm.
So, but it's, but that is because of the evaluations. And at the time of my hiring, I don't think anybody really knew what the financial position of the village was. So it's more of a question, and if you would like to have that discussion in private, because we're not going to discuss my evaluation in an open forum, but I'm asking more exactly how do you want to treat it, or is it set for a later day? Because I want to make sure that we are on the same page in an open forum that we're discussing it now.
Okay. Yeah, I think we can get together and, you just want an email or?
Yeah.
Send Mr. Del Rosa an email. What do you think he, received his? Is that good?
Well, we're about to have legal counsel also on another matter coming up on the 20th,
Mm-hmm.
based on what we received a couple of days ago.
Yeah.
So I think that that's a good time to have that discussion privately.
That could be an executive session agenda item, correct? All right, so we should probably do that there.
So, just for clarification, so, but tonight we're looking at, you're a contract, you're on a labor contract. These are hourly, so are we saying, what are we saying, that we're gonna treat your labor
No, I
contract
think you
separate, or
need
we
to-
go ahead
yeah.
and vote on hourly tonight?
Yeah, that's what we're voting on.
Okay, all right,
Yes.
okay,
I have a question. I think you cleared it up, but I want to be sure. So are you telling us that we have an opportunity to consider your salary completely separate from the balance of all of village staff?
Generally, it's done,
Should be.
but I think you should read the agreement. I get treated as other employees also.
Yeah.
Even though I'm a contract employee, I'm also an employee. But generally, I'm the only one that's exempt, and I answer to a body. So sometimes, they are treated differently, but not in all cases. In other words, your agreement with me is very standard employee, and not with any fringe benefits.
Yeah. So just for tonight, all we're doing is just for the staff.
So the answer is yes.
Yes.
We gotta,
My question.
Yes. And I just want to say, I think the staff does an awesome job. I'll echo everybody here. Other than that, any public comment? I'll entertain a motion.
Make a motion for item 6K for the approval and the implementation for fiscal year 2025-26 employee compensation increase to be effective in January of 2026, and given direction to the administrator to set that in motion with the accountant as necessary.
All right, we've got a motion to approve 6K starting in 1 January of 26 for the compensation increase.
Mayor Pro Tem, not 1 January, in January. It would be the first pay period.
Yeah, first pay period in January. Is there a second? All right, gone once, gone twice. Motion fails. Is there a second? We're going to do another motion.
I'll give it to you. I would like to make a motion that we approve the 3% raise. We make it effective December 1, and
For the pay period in
first pay period.
First pay period.
December 1, and without any binding obligation the following year to do so at the same time, if that needs to be stated. As far as
I got what you're saying.
start date of the topic.
That's, so the motion's been made to make the 3% pay raise for the compensation. First pay period ends December and every year after that.
Second.
Seconded by Alderman Sandor. Is there any discussion?
Question.
Question has been called. All those in favor say yes.
Yes.
All those opposed say no. Is there any abstention? Motion carries 5-0. And 6L, discussion and possible action for canceling the regular Board of Aldermen meeting scheduled for December 18th, 2025. Mr. Dela Rosa.
Okay, let's see here. The Mayor Pro Tem is not available on December 18th, so that leaves 4. No mayor, no Mayor Pro Tem. That means generally the next senior elected official will be the presiding officer. This means that it would be Alderman McDonald. If you wish to meet on the 18th, generally on the 18th you'll have the financials. You're in the second month of the you will be reviewing for the month of October and November. It slows down. A lot of folks are gone, so do you want to hold a meeting on the 18th?
I'll just say a little bit of something. We've had this vacation planned for 3 months, so I was not prepared to take the job over then like I am now, but it's a non-refundable, so that's why I was canceling the meeting. And we'll have a meeting, because the 4th is already canceled too, for the parade. So we're going to have a special meeting on the 11th.
Okay. So we're going to have another meeting in December. We're just canceling that when we're doing one on the 11th.
Yes.
Okay.
When we cancel the 4th, we automatically call for the 11th on that agenda item.
Yeah.
So for the month of December, we'll only be meeting once. But we have a lot of critical potential decisions that have to be made.
Can we talk about Alderman Sandor? Talk about that.
So comment first. Thank you for the clarification, Mayor Pro Tem, although I may not be able to have a life also. I have the same concern that Alderman Dunch has. It would be easy to not have a lot of meetings in December for a multitude of personal reasons, but business is business, and it seems like we have a lot that we may need to work through. So I guess what are pros and cons of having that meeting in Mayor Pro Tem Hurst's absence?
Well, there isn't any, but here's the thing. If you've got something that's important, we tabled 3 items because you weren't here at the last one of the meetings. If he's not here, we're going to be tabling things. That's the concern. Is if we're going to do business, then we do business. If we're going to table, it's only the financials. I see you finances. You respond to me. You've got any questions, and I address them.
Okay, that's fair. Yeah, I appreciate that. I don't have any further questions.
Alderman Lasker.
So we are meeting on the 11th of December, correct?
Yes.
Will we have the financials at that point in time to review and work with, ask questions at that particular point in time?
I doubt it. The bank statements come out right about that week. If you know, we meet on the second meeting of every month, and you've been getting them on that Saturday or Sunday, because that's when I get them from the accountant. Yeah.
Well,
so I don't think you'll see them before the 11th.
I certainly would like not to meet, just like everybody else at that time, and but I think we really have some important things happening at the end of the year, and updates on Royal Street and other items we have, and maybe we could have a quick meeting on the 11th, or have a long meeting on the 11th, and then a narrow focus on the 18th. maybe one or two items, so we don't have to go through things that aren't so time sensitive. But there's a couple of things I definitely would like to discuss at year end and make sure we're on track with the other projects. So I'm flexible. I'm willing to meet both, but I think Mayor Pro Tem, you could perhaps instruct how that agenda falls on the other things. Ideally, it'd be better to have one long meeting and be done with it all, but I don't think we can get it all accomplished at that point. I gave you no answer, but that's my thoughts.
I guess the other option, I guess we can table this, it's not here we're tabling it, but we have time to, as things get closer, we'll have a better indication of how much is still left on the agenda without necessarily making that decision tonight.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I concur with, at a minimum, let's run through the next meeting or so to see where we're at so we can get a better grasp. I am leaning towards just my point of view with respect to Mayor Pro Tem's non-refundable vacation to Fiji or wherever
Nice.
you're going. We're all just jealous, Mayor Pro Tem. But my point to be made is that I think in light of what's going on, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful to staff's time either by any means, but I think if there's something on the table that we need to have a discussion on, we're responsible to make that happen in that aspect. Since we're sliding calendar around as it is for parades and things of that nature. I think that's important. And I do have alibi questions for continuity of government by any other language. In the event that I am obviously the person that's going to sit in that position as you're discussing, I still have a vote in that conversation, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. I'm just trying to be clear and about board for community standards too as well. So I just want to make sure there's a clarity moment there. That's all. And if we make a decision because you're in vacation land, decision stands. Am I saying that properly too? Okay. Okay, no further questions. Thank you.
Yeah, because I don't think there's going to be a whole lot on the agenda in December because a lot of your engineers, everybody's taking their holiday. They start that, what, November?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that
Around
part.
Thanksgiving, we don't, most of our engineers, most of our lawyers, everybody's gone.
They're gone.
What I'm making a statement is, gentlemen, is the will of the board language. The will of the board, I'll support the will of the board, the majority of the board.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I got that.
That's
It's, I was just throwing it out there.
Mm-hmm.
Because we talked a little bit about it. I mean, there's going to be probably a lot of stuff on the 11th, other than the financials. But we can wait till then. It's up to you guys.
Sure. Whatever you want. Whatever the board wants to do. Table it, rethink it through.
Yeah, I think that that's the best idea because we have a little bit of time on this side to see how well we can get through the next couple of meetings and how much, we can add to those agendas for the sake of trying to land where maybe we don't need the meeting when we're going to be absent. I think that's the only reasonable option, in my opinion.
Yeah, no, I'm in. All right, is there any public comment? No? All right, so we all agree we're gonna...
Yeah, before we adjourn, I'm gonna go back to, our special call meeting, our workshop.
Oh, okay. So for, 6L, we're tabling it for a future date.
Mm-hmm.
All right, then our special call meeting, Mr. De La Rosa.
Yeah, which is
before we go.
agenda item, G, 6G.
Yep.
Looking at the calendar, well, I've got everybody's attention. So I've got to post with 5 days, so 3 full days. So if I post tomorrow, you can meet next Friday, the 14th. I don't think you want to do that. So you've got the 15th on a Saturday, the 22nd on a Saturday. On weekdays, you will have the 18th or the 25th. The 25th is the same, is a Tuesday, 2 days before Thanksgiving.
25th.
So 2 Saturdays and 2 Tuesdays.
Gentlemen, for the record, I will not be in the area through the 18th. I won't be returning until the 19th for professional services.
I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Will you please repeat those dates one more time, Mr.
Yep.
Del Rosso?
The two Saturdays available are November 15th or November 22nd.
Okay.
The Tuesdays that are available are November 18th or the 25th. They can reschedule.
Dibs, ma'am.
Yeah.
Can they?
Oh, yes.
For this
Yeah, you don't have anything scheduled yet, right? Gina, you don't have any public hearings? It's already been posted? Okay, 25th is out.
When you post tomorrow, I mean, could you do it next Thursday?
If we post tomorrow, it's Monday, Tuesday's a holiday, so I need Monday, Wednesday, no, Thursday is, I need 3 full days.
Yeah.
It would not work.
It's Veterans Day on Monday.
Just so y'all know, I'm retired. I'll do whatever suits y'all.
I mean, I'll do it on a Saturday, because then we can do it at noon, right?
Yeah, you,
We can do it whatever time we wanted to on a Saturday.
I'm good on any of those
I'm good on
dates.
a Saturday, generally speaking. I'm just making the general comment, professionally speaking. We already have an exceptionally hardworking administration and director here. And when we take a Saturday, we're taking time out of their decompression time. And yes, exempt member of our community for service. However, we're still taking away decompression time. And I'm cautious about committing to that. That's why I prefer to have it during a weekday if possible, just for that sake and purpose. Even if it's in the event of having it, I'm just using simple terms, earlier in the day. It's a flexible schedule. We got to do what we got to do.
All right, we got the date. How about we do this? Shoot, Mr. De La Rosa, we got the 18th, the 15th, and the 22nd.
Yep.
Shoot him an email, let's say by tomorrow evening.
We're going to consider the 18th, even though we know that one board member is going to be absent.
No, we won't.
I won't be here.
Well, so you got 2 dates, Saturday or Saturday?
I'm good either way.
And I'm technically good either way.
Yeah, I don't know, guys. I mean, I can't decide tonight.
No, that's what I'm saying.
Okay.
If you
I've
get
got
email,
one kid finishing college and one kid finishing high school. My kid in college is 6 hours away. I'm not here a lot on the weekends right now.
Got it.
Sorry. So I got to look at that. I will though.
Okay.
Happy to. And I'm not opposed to doing it on a Saturday, but I don't have all of that in front of me to be able to know which ones I'm here for and which ones I'm not for. Sorry.
so let's make it by, no, we can't do that. It's gotta be by tomorrow, so,
Just let them know tomorrow.
well, we can do it by the 10th, right? Because you need 3 days. That's the 12th, 13th, 14th for the public, then we have the meeting on the 15th, right?
I would need to, yeah.
So by the 10th.
Post on the 10th for it to be available 12th, 13th, and 14th, but Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, 3 full days, and you can meet on the 15th.
So you just need to know by what time on the 10th.
Before the end of the day. Yeah, I'll draft the agenda, I just gotta post it, that it's gotta post it before the end of the day.
Sure.
Does that work for you? Alderman Sanders? Have it in by the 10th, say yes or no?
Yes, I can know in the next 24 hours.
Okay. We'll give you a little more time, thank you. We just need that time so we can publish it. All right, everybody good? By Monday?
Just crazy administrative question. Could you post both of them as if we're doing 2 workshops for the same topic and then cancel one if it's not needed?
Yeah, you can post and cancel anytime,
Okay.
yeah.
Would that give you more flexibility on both weekends? I mean, I'm just trying to figure out, in case something were to pop up the one weekend and we would have to cancel, then you would have the next. But I'm just trying to find a solution.
And you guys good with noon?
Yeah.
Yep. Okay. All right, just let them know by the 10th, the 15th, or the 22nd, if you would.
Okay.
All right. Last on the agenda. Adjournment.
Move to adjourn.
Adjourned. 9:29.